Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in here to Murder Church, episode 52, the Phil Spector murder trial, as we're going to continue down this road. This morning we're starting out with Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department's Richard Tomlin. It's a detective, takes the stand. And we're starting out with an hour of this gentleman. Get your coffees, get your whatever gets you going in the morning. Hit the like, share it out. Let's rock.
Let's rock.
Good morning, it's morning time, we're here. We made it again, give me the bells. Bells in the morning. Only way to start Murder Church. Got these fine folks in here. Let me get these names in here too, so I can talk to you properly like. There we go. I know it didn't work, actually. Why did that not work? Let's try it again. It's not working this morning. Well, whatever. Welcome in here, everybody. Thank you so much. We're going to have a great morning regardless. I'll work on that in just a second. Who we got in the chat this morning? We got Pammy, Kathy, Simi Sharp coming through. Like to see it. Cheeny in the house. Nice. I keep hitting it like it's going to pop up. And it is not, but at least the Botrix woke up this morning. Dizzy hanging out this morning. Love to see it. Jen D in the house. Kathy hanging out. Wild Side in the house. Bassett Page coming through for an episode of Murder Church. Love to see it. Thank y'all so much. If you could go on the old X machine or any social media site and share that out, I'd appreciate it. I didn't really do a lot of sharing this morning. It's running a little bit late. Of course, this morning we have a will in play per the usual. Friday night, we were rocking and rolling, working towards a will for some stickers, and we got pretty damn close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we are 5 away from a will right now. Can't beat that. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Little love coming through here. Appreciate it. Oh, man. Good morning from Cali. Don't chat very much. Little love. I do remember your name, though. I love it. We got some Buzz Nation members out there that don't chat. Nah, that's cool. We love some people that are hiding in the back. I get it. You get a back pew back there. You're chilling out. Maybe you'll doze off. Man, I don't blame you. It's early. Probably had a really long weekend. Glad everybody's in here, though. Today we are on video number 136 of about 230 some, I believe. So we're getting there as we continue to truck down, and we're going to be going into 2025 into the Phil Spector murder trial. Dude, Jay in the house. My chat's not popping up right now, but Jay, what's up? Good morning. Thank you very much, man. Yeah, Dan got me this for Christmas. Yeah, I'm in love with it, honestly. I think it fucking rules. Suzanne Barnett coming through here this morning. Welcome. Jay, I hope you had a great weekend and a great Christmas, brother. And we're going into the new year, folks. Going into 2025. Can you believe it? Publicly buzzed. Going into 2025. Exciting stuff. The way you can get on that physical will is, of course, everything up above there. As you can see, the Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal. If you become a member in here, if you're not membered up, you're going to want to become a member here. There's lots of exclusive stuff. Every Feral Friday, essentially now, becomes a members only stream. So if you miss that on the night live, you're not going to be seeing that one unless you're a member. There's also lots of other content that I like to put out with me and Dan hanging out. We've done lots of different things. There's loads of videos that are just for members. And if you're members, you also get those sweet emojis that you see in the chat there. So, but yeah, we're going to keep rocking and rolling here this morning, folks. I do probably needs to get some coffee to get going. And I will do that momentarily. But yeah, let's get in here. Again, thanks everyone so much for being here. This week should be pretty exciting here. I don't know anything that's happening whatsoever. I said last Sunday I was going to be getting into some more Courtney Clinton. Let's try to do that this week. We'll see how it rolls. Maybe Tuesday night Murder Church. Everything is just, we rock. We fly by the seat of our pants here at Publicly Buzzed. I think you guys enjoy that. I'm not the best with schedules. I didn't schedule this to about 10 o'clock last night. This actual live, but you all know it's coming, right? you're not missing out on anything here. So, all right, folks, thank y'all so much again. Let's get in here. Let's settle in. And, yeah, Detective Richard Tomlin is taking the stand to start us out this morning. And I already see Judge Dowhart over there.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
He's not fucking around, if you know what I'm saying. Get this right here. Bada boom, bada boom. We'll start her out. Well, it looks like Kathy's already starting us out here on the old wheel. So let's see what's going on there real quick. The beautiful Kathy, who was coming through here and was one of the greatest in the Buzz Nation, is always helping us out here. Helps Gypsy out tremendously. Kathy coming through the old Venmo machine with a 420. We already know, huh? We already know, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
Passing the plate for Pastor Steve. Thank you so much, Kathy. I appreciate that. She's going to start us out here this morning with a beautiful donation of $4.20, and I really appreciate that, Kathy. That gets us four away till we get a spin this morning. Will we get a spin? Only time will tell. But yeah, let's get in here. Thank y'all so much again. I'm going to get some coffee. I hope you guys have some coffee too. I do have a coffee emoji there in the chat. And yeah, when Dan gave me this, I'm actually going to put this on the, I don't know where yet, but I'm going to put it over here somewhere. This logo. This the logo that Mandy made also, just so we are really clear. But yeah, that I love the way it pops so hard on this freaking hat. I was like, you know what? That's going to be our main logo. I'm still going to leave the pink PB for all the socials like Twitter, YouTube. You know, those are the only ones that really matter. But I'm still going to use the same old classic pink background. I think that makes the white pop for the very small circle, identification logo. Now, otherwise, I would have changed it completely to this. So I started messing with it. I'm like, that doesn't, it's in the very small circle. It's hard to read all of this. The PB kind of pops, you know what I am. If I can get that branding out, you know who the fuck I am. That makes more sense. But I'm going to leave this guy right here because I love this freaking logo. Mandy crushed that shit. And it's my favorite shirt that we sell on PubliclyBuzzed.com. Again, you can win one of those the next time we have a wheel that's giving away a shirt, or go purchase one of those bad motherfuckers. And yeah, and once I got this for Christmas, I was like, man, that is the baddest fucking logo out there. Period. This is the best logo happening. Like, it's got the classic vibe. It's a play off the Unsolved Mysteries, which already goes perfect into true crime. But the background with behind the buzz has that 80s vibe, man. Oh, no. I'm out here freaking out right now. Dan killed this GIF, my guys. Killed this gift. All right, let's jump in here. Let me make sure I got the sound rocking and rolling. And let's go.
To testify in front of the jury?
Yes, sir.
All right, then you've previously been sworn. You remain under oath. And just state your name again for the record.
Richard Tomlin, Tomlin.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Tomlin, good morning, and thank you, sir, for being here today.
Good morning.
Mr. Tomlin, are you one of the investigating officers, one of the lead investigating officers in this matter?
Yes, along with Paul Fournier.
Okay, he was your partner, or is your partner in this case?
Anybody out there, you shared out. I didn't do a lot of sharing this morning. I still might do a little bit on the background here on X. If anybody's in the Discord, if you could share that out in the Discords or any other Discords that you may be in, I'd appreciate that.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And would you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who are you employed with, sir?
I'm employed by the County of Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, assigned to Homicide Bureau.
Okay. And as of today, how long have you been a deputy sheriff?
Approximately 21 years.
And just as a little foundation, before you became a deputy sheriff, you went through the academy?
Yes.
And you took a class, I assume, in learning how to write official police reports?
Yes.
Okay. And you completed that class successfully, correct?
Yes.
And in that class, you were taught how to write a police report, correct?
Yes.
And you were taught to include all things of importance and all things that pertain to the particular investigation, isn't that correct?
All things, at the time you're preparing the report, you attempt to put in all things pertinent to the investigation, yes.
Okay. And is there any way you can estimate how many official police reports you've written or sheriff's reports you've written over 21 years? Probably just in the tens of thousands, huh?
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask you, as one of the two investigating officers in this case, did you interview a number of potential witnesses throughout the course of the investigation?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you interview a lady by the name of Dorothy Melvin?
Yes.
Did you interview a lady by the name of Stephanie Jennings?
Yes.
Did you interview a lady by the name of Romy Davis?
Yes.
Did you interview a lady by the name of Sophia Hulen?
Yes.
And did you interview each and every one of those four ladies in connection with your investigation of this case?
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with Miss Melvin. When you interviewed Miss Melvin, did you afterwards author an official police report, sheriff's report?
Yes, I did.
May I approach you?
Yes.
Thank you. And I want to show you a 9-page report. I hand it to you, ask you to take a look at it for a moment and tell me whether or not that is in part your official Los Angeles Sheriff's report in this case.
Yes, it is.
Contained therein, is there an interview that you conducted with Romy Davis? I'm sorry, excuse me, with Dorothy Melvin?
Yes.
Okay. And I want to ask you some questions here about your conversation and interview with Miss Melvin, okay?
Yes.
And that interview took place on February 19th, 2003 at her residence, correct?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
He just doesn't zip his pants.
And you have had a chance to review this report, correct?
Yes, I have.
In reviewing the report, you have determined that it is correct, accurate, and complete. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Does your report contain
Tearing dust.
any information that Mr. Spector,
Abby, what's up?
on the evening that Ms. Melvin spoke to you about being in his presence, consumed at the piano a fifth of vodka by continually picking up and drinking from it? A vodka bottle that it was round with a handle on
That
it.
sounds like Phil.
No.
Okay?
All right, let me go get a healthy. Where my
Or if
shadow?
I can step back.
Boom.
If
You see that right there?
that's not,
Boom. That's a little
It's not
shadow.
a complete
Boom.
answer.
Little shadow.
She
Boom.
mentioned
Makes the name pop
that
just a
he
little
drank
bit.
vodka. It was not specific, the amounts.
Okay. She never said anything about a round bottle with a handle, correct?
Correct.
No.
She never said
Boom.
anything
Make a little
about
burn.
Mr. Spector
Boom.
emptying it down to just a very little bit, did she?
Correct.
And she never said anything about describing this as being a vodka bottle with a handle on it, correct?
Correct.
Very bad.
Court's indulgence for a moment.
certainly.
Directing your attention again to your official police report and in discussions with Miss Melvin, Miss Melvin did not tell you, and it is not contained in your report, that Mr. Spector ever pointed a gun at her that evening and was jumping around with it. Isn't that true?
It is common.
I'll break it down. Let me break it down. Miss Melvin never told you during that interview, and it is not contained in your report, that Mr. Spector
keep saying
ever
that.
pointed
That's
a
what
gun
I'm
at her,
doing, so.
correct?
I'll be
No, I
on
did not.
the chat.
Excuse me. It is not contained in the report.
Okay. And it is not contained in the report that Mr. Spector was jumping around with the gun, correct?
Correct.
It is not contained in your report that Miss Melvin said that Mr. Spector had a gun in his hand and that he hit her with the back of his hand that held the gun and that something sharp hit her head. That is not in the report, is it?
No, she stated that he hit her twice with the gun.
It is not contained in the report that Ms. Melvin said that once she returned to the residence, she was seated on the stairs with the gun pointed at her, correct?
Correct. She just stated that he told her to go inside the house.
It is not contained in your report, your official report, that Ms. Melvin indicated that when she was asked to take her clothes off, that Mr. Spector pointed a gun at her when he said this to her, correct?
It is not contained in the report, but I believe she stated that he had the gun.
She did not tell you that he pointed the gun at her when she claims that he said this, correct?
I can't recall if I specifically asked her or that she explained that he was actually pointing the gun at her. It was more of an implied conversation.
Well,
he ordered her back into the house.
All I'm asking is this, it's not in the report, is it?
No.
Okay. And this is the official report of your interview with her, correct?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Sure.
All right, thank you. Mr. Rosen, you may resume. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, there is nothing contained in your report from your interview with Dorothy Melvin which indicated that Ms. Melvin wanted to file assault and theft charges, correct?
Correct.
There is nothing contained in your report from your interview with Ms. Melvin that she, in fact, stated, quote, unquote, that's it, we're going back, I am pressing charges, correct?
Correct.
There is nothing contained in your report of the interview with Ms. Melvin that when she and the officers returned to Mr. Spector's home, they went to the kitchen door, the windows were open, the door was open, and they could hear Mr. Spector on the phone talking to somebody, laughing and joking. There's nothing in your report to that effect, is there?
Correct.
Further, in that same interview with Ms. Melvin, it is not contained in your official report that she indicated that she was going to be pressing charges if the officers did not come back with her handbag. True?
Correct.
There is nothing contained in your report that Ms. Melvin indicated when she was talking with Mr. Spector about her handbag that she said, quote, Phil, I'm not leaving without my handbag, or you're going to be arrested for assault or for a theft, close quote. That is not contained in your report, is it?
No, it's not.
There is nothing in your report that Ms. Melvin told you that when she spoke with the police officers who assisted her that night and responded to the situation, that she told them on numerous occasions that she wanted to press charges if she didn't get her handbag back, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Melvin, strike that. There is nothing in your report regarding the interview with Ms. Melvin that indicated that she was bleeding from the scalp and she had to apply Neosporin because of the bleeding, because there was a slight cut, correct?
No, she stated that she had 2 cuts on her head. It was never asked specifically if she treated herself for the injuries.
Nothing about treating herself, nothing about Neosporin, nothing about blood, correct?
Correct. It was never asked.
No, I didn't ask you that. I just asked you, is it in your report?
No, it's not.
Okay. And she didn't tell you that, right?
No.
Okay. Detective Tomlin, let's turn our attention now from Miss Melvin to Miss Jennings. Now, you interviewed Miss Jennings, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And in interviewing Miss Jennings, you actually tape recorded that interview, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And may I approach Your Honor, please? I want to hand you a small tome, ask you to take a look at it. Okay, does that look familiar?
Yes.
Okay, is this a transcript of the interview that you had with Ms. Jennings?
Yes.
Okay, you tape recorded this, correct?
Yes, I did.
And then the tape recording was transcribed into this booklet, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you had a chance to review this, correct?
Yes.
And it accurately reflects the interview that you conducted with her, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask you a few questions about the transcript. You also actually prepared a report for her too, didn't you?
Yes, summarizing the interview.
Okay. So the report was a summary of the transcript, correct?
Yes.
All right, when I ask these next set of questions, I'm going to refer to the report and the transcript, recognizing the report is a summarization of the transcript itself, okay?
Okay.
All right. I want to focus your attention on the portion of the interview, the beginning of the interview, where Ms. Jennings indicates that she bumps into Mr. Spector coming out of the bathroom of a restaurant. You know that particular portion of the interview?
Yes.
Okay. There is nothing in the transcription of the taped interview of Ms. Jennings, nor in the report, that indicates the following statement, that Ms. Jennings said to Mr. Spector at that point, "What do you mean?" And Mr. Spector said, "If they are going to come and get me, that's how they are going to do it." That is not in the report. That is not in the tape transcript, correct?
I can't recall. I believe that was in the transcript.
Let me bring it to you. Yeah? Oh, yeah.
If I can
There you go.
have a moment. Thank you. Excuse me 1 second. Okay. No, she did not say that.
Okay. Can I have the transcript back,
Yes.
please? And your answer was no, she did not say that,
No.
correct? There is nothing contained in the report or the transcript. And now we're shifting to the Carlisle Hotel situation, okay?
Okay.
Where she said, quote unquote, he, referring to Mr. Spector, was definitely drunk, correct?
Correct.
Not in the report, not in the transcript, right?
Correct.
Okay. Court's indulgence. I just have to coordinate the pages. It's a tedious process, as you know. Thank you. Again, at the Carlisle Hotel, in your interview with Miss Jennings, there is nothing contained in the report nor in the tape that Miss Jennings indicated that when Mr. Spector walked into her room with the gun, he pointed at her. Is that correct?
There's nothing stated in the report. However, it's implied. He walked in, she stated he had
I'm
a
not
gun.
asking what's implied.
No. But the question was, does it appear in the report? You'll have a chance to cross-examine him.
No, it does not.
I'm not asking you what's implied. What I'm asking you is,
He answered the question.
and it doesn't appear in the transcript, does it?
I don't know if it does or not in the transcript.
Want to take a look? You want to take
no,
a look? You want to
I will take your word for
You'll
it.
take my word for it. Okay. So there's nothing in the report or the transcript that says when Mr. Spector walked in the room, he pointed the gun at her, correct?
Specifically,
In the hot
that,
seat,
no.
baby.
Okay. Now, there is a portion in the transcript where you were interviewing her, as I recall, about what happened in the room. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you asked her in which direction the gun was pointed, correct?
I don't recall.
Okay. And there is nothing contained in the transcript of the taped interview by you and Miss Jennings that indicates that she thought she was about to get shot, correct? It's not in the transcript, it's not in the report.
I don't recall.
Okay, well, let me bring it up to you and let you look at it. May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Please feel free to take a look, and after you review it, you tell me whether or not there's anything in that tape transcript of your interview with her.
Yeah, that's a mighty fine looking steak dinner there, Gabby. Killing it. Wow. Pan-seared steak, dry rubbed with garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, and the rosemary butter with asparagus and a baked potato with red onion, garlic, butter, pepper. Smells delicious. It looks amazing. Yeah,
Where she said that she feared that she was about to get shot.
Bonnie Bailey coming through here, and I can't pop it up on the screen, but Bonnie, thank you so much. Passing the plate, showing a little bit more love this morning. Bonnie Bailey, let me give you a little bit more love, baby. Hold on now. Let me give you a little bit of love here. Just a little bit of love.
Give me the loot.
Thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate it.
Let's get physical, physical.
I want to get physical. Let me hear your body talk. Your body talk. Let me hear your body talk. Thank you so much, Bonnie. I appreciate that. Bada bing, bada boom. Hell yeah. Trucking on. Let's get physical. Physical. Wanna get physical. Taryn Dusky, thank you for that share.
I don't see anything.
There's nothing contained in the transcript, nor the official report that says that Mr. Spector pointed the gun in her direction, correct?
No, correct.
Called this. No one probably seen it, but I called this. I was talking about this. I don't even know how long ago. I remember the guardian angels that used to roam New York City, trying to get rid of, throwing in a little vigilante justice for these fuckfaces that are roaming in the streets. Guardian angels say they'll start patrolling New York City subways again after woman burned to death on F train. I called that shit coming, baby. We're back in the 90s. Oh, batch.
And there is nothing can strike that. Now I want to focus on another subject matter. You remember interviewing
Seeking
her,
justice.
talking to her
What's up?
about
Get in here.
her
Thank you so much
contract
for
with the
that.
National.
Always. Seeking justice, always coming through. If you're not in the Discord, you're already fucking up. But get in there and also follow them on X, because every Sunday night when I make the link for this, they're already on top of it, sharing it out. I fucking appreciate the shit out of that.
Acquirer,
Yes.
where she got paid money?
Yes.
Okay. And in the course of that interview, there is nothing contained in the transcript of the tape recorded interview, nor in your report, where she indicated if she knew that she was going to be the subject matter of the interview, that you would have never granted it or agreed to it. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
There is nothing contained in the interview, and I'm moving to another subject. There's nothing contained in the transcription of the taped interview, nor in the official police report of
Christina
your
coming
interview
through
with
here?
Stephanie Jennings, wherein she said that Mr. Spector had two personalities. There were two Philip Spectors, correct?
Correct. There's nothing in the report that states that.
And there's nothing in the report or in the transcript which says that he had the ability to snap and change his moods immediately. Nothing like that, correct? That statement is not in the transcript, correct?
To be quite frank with you, I'd have to take your word for it. I don't recall.
You want to take a look?
No, sir.
You'll take my word for it?
Yes.
If I tell you it's not in there, you'll agree.
Yes.
It's not in there.
Counsel's testifying.
All right, the last, he just said he'd take your word for it. That will be the testimony. Your latter statement will be stricken. Okay.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Tomlin, I want to turn your attention now to a different witness. I want to turn your attention to a lady named Romy Davis. Do you remember her?
Yes.
And do you remember interviewing Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Okay. And did you audio record her?
No, I did not.
Okay. And I assume Mr. Fournier did not also.
Correct.
But you did, after you interviewed her, author an official Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department supplemental report, correct?
Yes.
And you encompassed and embodied in that report those things that you spoke with her about in that interview, correct?
Well, the things that I felt were pertinent to the investigation
Okay.
were placed in there.
May I approach her?
Yes.
Again, I want to show you a supplemental report, ask you to take a look at it. I've put a little post-it there to help you so you don't have to thumb through it, and see if that, in fact, is the official police report that you authored. Sorry, I keep saying police report. The official sheriff's report that you authored of your interview with Ms. Davis.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And I now want to talk to you about that. Okay, I want to focus your attention on that portion of the interview where you were speaking with Ms. Davis about she and Mr. Spector spending time together, okay?
Okay.
And you did ask her about that, correct?
Yes.
And she told you about that, didn't she?
Yes.
There is nothing contained in your official sheriff's report that says that she told you that in June, subsequent to June of 2002 and up until February of 2003, that she would spend once or twice a month, which meant every few weeks with her. Isn't that correct? That's
Correct.
not in your report.
Correct. I believe she said they had dinner approximately three times a week.
3 times a week. She did not tell you that she saw him once or twice a month, which means every few weeks, correct?
Correct.
Okay. It is not contained in your report, and I'm switching to another area, that Ms. Davis told you that in the evening in question that she went out with Mr. Spector, being Sunday, February 2nd, 2003, to the Grill Restaurant in Beverly Hills, that she had nothing to drink. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the first part of the question?
Of course. Let me just rephrase it. When you were speaking with her about her being with Mr. Spector at the Grill Restaurant on the evening of Sunday, February 2nd, 2003, there is nothing contained in your report that said she did not have anything to drink that night, correct?
Correct.
In fact, what she said in the report was, or what's in the report is that she told you that she may have had a glass of Merlot and Mr. Spector may have had a daiquiri to drink with dinner, correct?
She stated that she could not recall if they did have a drink, and that's when she stated she believed she possibly had a glass of Merlot and that he had a daiquiri.
Okay. With dinner?
Yes.
And there is nothing contained in the report, is there, your report of your interview with Ms. Davis, saying that Mr. Spector had 2 drinks that night, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
2 drinks for this man, I don't believe that.
There is nothing contained in the report of your interview with Ms. Davis that says that she was concerned about Mr. Spector that evening because he was doing something that she had not seen him do before, and that was consuming an alcoholic beverage, correct?
Correct.
There is nothing contained in your report that Ms. Davis told you that this particular weekend, referring to the weekend of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which ended on the 2nd Sunday evening, that for the first time ever she saw
I can't show it off,
behavior.
Christina. My popping up the name things is messed up, but thank you so much coming through, gifting out a membership. Suzanne Barnett getting one. Fuck yeah. Anybody that's getting out gifted memberships, you are getting a true gift, and you don't even know it because there's a lot of extra content that you can go and check out. Miss Dina, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Where are we at this morning on it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Is that correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we're only 2 away from a spin here. Thank you so much for hanging and banging. And look at this. And Pokemomo, I can't even pop it up on the screen because, again, my shit's fucked up. But Pokemon changed her name to Pokemomo because of Feral Friday's stream. And I love that. Thank you so much, Miss Dina. I appreciate that.
That was completely and totally different from anything she had ever seen with Mr. Spector previously. That's not in the report, is it?
No, it's not.
Again, in your official sheriff's supplemental report of your interview of Romy Davis, there is nothing contained in there about Ms. Davis speaking to Mr. Spector and him disagreeing with her not agreeing with what she wanted him to do, correct?
Correct.
Again, there is nothing in the report of Ms. Davis's interview which says that Mr. Spector picked at his meal and that he was not himself. Nothing in there to that effect, correct?
Correct.
Feral Friday was fun. That episode is already gone. The only way that episode will ever be seen again, the Popcorn Sutton episode, will be through Patreon. I recorded that one, got that one immediately off of the kick. That's usually the system of the way it works. I'm showing a show on Feral Fridays on Kick called Prisoner. You know, those episodes, the first 4 have already been taken down as well. Those are on Patreon right now. Yeah, I take down pretty much everything. It'll stay up for a little while, but that one, Popcorn Sutton episode, got that one down pretty quick. You ain't watching my shit live, you might miss it.
Court's indulgence for a moment,
Fucking
please.
feel, you fuckface motherfucker. You ghoul piece of shit. COVID's coming for your ass, you dumb motherfucker. You limp dick drunk prick. You rapist. Disney nerd coming through here with 99 cents, and we only one away, baby. Only one. Thank you so much. Disney nerd, one away. Who's going to finish that thing off this morning? Who's going to finish that thing
And
off?
contained in the report is a statement by Miss Davis that neither she nor Mr. Spector were drunk that evening. Isn't that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Mom Jane's in the house. She was hanging out hard on Friday. She had a good ass time. Had a good ass time.
Finally, I think
Had a
we,
good ass time.
you did in fact interview Miss Sophia Hulen,
Had a good ass time.
This is gun country.
correct?
Yes.
A then employee at the House of Blues.
Yes.
And when you interviewed her, as I understand it, you tape recorded that interview, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And you also filed a report, is that right?
Yes.
And thank you. Thanks, Sue. The report, again, it was more of a summary of the transcript, right?
Exactly.
So the transcript would be more detailed, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, may I approach you? Yes. And I'd ask you to take a look at this transcript and see if this is the accurate transcription of the actual tape, the words on the tapes that you spoke when you interviewed Miss Hulen. And just take a moment and take a look at that, please.
Yes, it appears to be.
Okay. And as we have done with the prior three individuals, I'm going to ask you questions about the interview that you conducted with her, okay?
Okay.
All right. There is nothing contained in this transcript interview of Sophia Hulen by yourself that indicates that she said to you that Mr. Spector asked her to go home with him. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
There is nothing in the transcript of your interview of Miss Hulen that said that his demeanor was that he was very, very agitated.
I don't know if Tyler Toys is in here right now, but I just put out this post right now because it's the motherfucking truth. It's the truth. I don't know. He was on with Hella and Dolly on Excited Utterances channel, and they put him on here. Pretty fucking dope. Awesome. Love that. He's one of the coolest people in all of true crime and LawTube. However the hell you want to look at this little sphere that we kind of gravitate in. He's the best. He's the freaking man. He's given away so many cars, so many things. He puts so much stuff on his back and just carries it and lets us be amazing in the space. He creates videos to try to help out smaller channels. He's the fucking man. So I said right here, Tyler Toys is the best person in true crime on LawTube, period. Most real and friendly and only tries to help people. Realest motherfucker. I would fight a person for him if it need be. And I think I fucked that up there. But you know what I'm fucking saying.
And very fast speaking and slurish, correct?
Correct.
The man.
Okay.
Oh, shit, Gabby's going to finish us off here with a $3 holler. Thank you so much, Gabby. I love that. That's going to finish us off for the wheel of thrills. Yeah. And then we got Disney Nerd coming through, showing off. I can't show it off because my shit's fucked up. Member for 17 months. Wow, that's incredible. I'm going to give you one of these anyways because that is crazy.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Nuts.
Son of a bitch!
It's fucking nuts is what it is. I'm going to tell you right now.
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
Love it.
Contained in the transcript
Forrest Nelson rolling through, Dixie in the house. Got a bunch of people
of
coming
the
through. Thank y'all
interview
so
with Ms.
much.
Hulen
Appreciate it, guys.
is
Hanging and banging this morning.
the statement that she told you that upstairs in the foundation room on the evening in question, that after Mr. Spector came in and was seated, that she came in, she was fluffing up pillows around him, she was trying to get into the conversation, and she was attempting to get his attention, correct? That's in the transcript.
Oh, yes.
She told you that, correct?
Yes.
All right. And also contained in the transcript is she told you in reference to Lana. Ms. Hulen told you in reference to Lana that Lana was just picking up the pillows, making all kinds of noise, bumping around, making noise, and that Ms. Hulen was looking at her and said, quote unquote, "Get out of here," correct?
Correct.
And Ms. Hulen also told you that she said in looking at Lana,
Well, this is insanity. You know how fucking see how crazy the world is and how fucking shit everything is? We're going to look at it here. Hold on. Where is this even at? This fucking field thing. Get lost in here so easily. It's right here. Where's the fucking field thing? Get that shit off here. Get it off! Get it out of my fucking face! For 2 minutes here. Here we go. I don't know. This is madness. This is craziness is what it is. I'm sure this video will be demonetized immediately for this story alone. Mother arrested trying to flee to Canada after she and her husband allegedly tried performing an honor killing on their daughter for refusing to be shipped to Iraq for an arranged marriage. Everything is fucking stupid. Zahar Subhai Mohsen Ali was charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, and assault. This is the United States. The 17-year-old daughter ran away from home after her parents tried shipping her to Iraq. When they found her at Timberland High School in Washington, the father, Ahsan Ali, was seen beating his daughter. There's fucking video down here of him trying to literally kill his daughter as classmates. We're going to get back up here. The girl's 16-year-old boyfriend eventually was able to free her as the father tried choking her out. The father was immediately arrested and the mother was later caught trying to flee to Canada. Her father had recently been threatening her with honor killing for refusing an arranged marriage with an older man in another country. According to the father, the boyfriend, Victor Barnes, who recently spoke to the Daily Mail, the mother tried fleeing to Canada after she heard prosecutors say they believed she was also a threat to her daughter. They wanted to seclude her, and during this period of time, that's when he was threatening to kill her and was starving her. Crazy, crazy stuff. What the actual fuck, dude? Insanity. They're living in the United States. They have somebody that wants to marry their daughter in Iraq. They're like, yeah, we're going to send her over to Iraq. This is the way it is. Literally trying to choke her out right here at the fucking school. And you have classmates and kids having to save this lady from this actual fucking horrible human being that is her father. Fucking hell, dude. Everybody's out of their fucking mind. Religion is fucking stupid and ruins people. Fucking hell, dude. Gross as fuck.
and I'm like, you don't need to get that comfortable to say, I can't, I'm working. Correct?
Correct.
Michelle, what's up? Coming into a wild one this morning.
There is nothing contained in your interview of Ms. Hulen, is there, sir, wherein she says that Mr. Spector seemed to be angry in general. Isn't that true?
Correct.
And finally, In the transcript of your interview with Ms. Holkeen at page 25, lines 19, she makes the following statement. This is Ms. Holkeen. She didn't because I asked her, and she said, no, I thought it was a
God,
woman.
Christina, I know, man.
You know, I thought it was a woman.
That's what they're willing to do in
And then she
fucking
goes on to
public.
talk about other things, and then
Look out of here.
ultimately says that Mr. Spector wanted to give her $100, correct, as part of the tip.
Correct.
Got me hot now. You got me hot! Sweating in this room.
And she also told you in this interview that when she informed Mr. Spector that she could not serve him a second drink, for him, it was neither here nor there. It was really no big deal. Isn't that correct?
Objection, this is not impeachment. It's not an inconsistent statement.
I can show you the set right here.
No, it's the,
Yeah, sure.
what the
Got my
specific,
coffee over here too. I'm trying
It's
to
improper impeachment.
show
get
me,
her cooled down a little bit.
Unless my memory is...
let me see.
Got it right here.
Show it to Mr.
Take a
Jackson.
look at it.
All right.
Thanks. I understand, I guess what I'm confused about. May I have just a second? Yes. I guess what I'm confused is...
See if I can get a drink without burning my face off. Oh, God, he's back. You fucking prick. Pinstripes. He's like, I'm a mobster. I'm a mobster today. I'm a mobster. I need my money. I need sex. I need everything that you have in your life that isn't mine. I'm Phil Spector, the mobster, a.k.a. a brutal, terrible rapist. Fuck Phil Spector.
I'll withdraw my
Rick,
objection. I
okay.
just didn't remember the trial history.
Died of COVID a couple of years ago.
That's why I brought the
Oops.
transcripts. Okay. And the answer to that question, sir?
Still
Yes.
very hot.
Okay.
It's still very hot.
I need the court's indulgence for a moment, please. Mr. Tomlin, we discussed, sir, we discussed Stephanie Jennings, Dorothy Melvin, Romy Davis, and Sophia Hulen, correct?
Correct.
As I understand it, you did not participate in the interview of Melissa Grosvenor, is that right?
Correct.
And you did not participate in the interview of Diane Ogden-Walter, is that right?
Correct.
So therefore, you have no tapes or transcripts of any interviews with them, is that right?
Correct.
And you have not offered any official sheriff's reports in relationship to those two ladies, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. I realize you authored a tremendous amount of material in this case because it's generated a lot of material. But my question is regarding
Every day.
the four ladies that we just discussed a moment ago. You
See that
were
crazy
the investigating officer
plane
that did
crash
speak
in
with
South
each and every
Korea?
one of them and either authored the reports or did in fact conduct the tape transcripts, correct?
Probably amount
Yes.
of votes.
Okay. Court's indulgence for a moment, please. Ms. Kenny Black has just pointed something out to me. I may have left some confusion with some people. When I was asking you the questions about the interview you conducted with Sophia Hulen regarding the fluffing up the pillows, what I was asking you is that what Sophia Hulen was telling you about Lana in terms of what Lana was doing, not Sophia Hulen, correct?
Correct.
Lana was the one fluffing up the pillows.
Correct.
Both times when I asked you those questions.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cross-examination. Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Tomlin, my name's Alan Jackson. I know that. We go way back. Just thought I'd break the ice. Okay, I'll try to get you out of here before noon. Detective Tomlin, first of all, Mr. Rosen asked you a couple of questions about interviewing techniques and reports that you write, classes that you've taken when you were back in the academy and you were just a wee lad learning about being a cop, right? Yes. All right, during the course of that training, you were taught to
at least insofar as an investigation is concerned, when you interview a witness, you write a summary or a report.
Exactly.
And that report is often made an official part of an investigative file, correct?
Yes.
And that report may include a tape or a tape transcript as well, is that right?
Yes.
Or it may just be the summary of your notes that you take while you're interviewing the witness, correct?
Correct.
And there might be some exceptional circumstances when you interview a witness and you don't happen to have your notes with you because you weren't expecting to see that witness or something, and you might actually interview a witness without notes, then go back and memorialize that conversation in a formalized report, correct?
Correct.
And normally, just for ease of maintenance, you type up those reports so we don't have to decipher your handwriting, correct?
Correct.
All right. Are these notes intended to be, or are these reports intended to be a verbatim, word-for-word recitation or memorialization of the conversation that you have with a particular witness?
Absolutely not. It would
He's
be
laughed a couple
nearly
times
impossible
just
to time-consuming
Every once in a while you get a
and to
crack
recreate
out of that
that
son of a
exact
bitch.
conversation.
Okay, so
Usually tries to
oftentimes
keep
if
it
you
pretty,
happen to have the facility available,
Pretty. Actually, it's a little bit worse than that. He's really. You don't blink. He's just staring at you. Every once in a while, when the jokes start cracking in here, you'll see. I paused on one of them one day because I was like, "Oh shit!"
you'll tape
Spector.
record those conversations, and Mr.
Wow.
Rosen made made mention of a couple of tape recorded conversations, correct?
Correct.
Other times, that may not be done. It may be that a witness is either uncomfortable being taped, or you decide, for purposes of your investigation, that an interview comes up and you don't happen to have a tape recorder with you. You'll go ahead and interview that witness and make handwritten notes, correct?
Absolutely. There's no rule or requirement to tape record an individual, and it's basically on a case-by-case basis.
Do you consult before you interview a particular witness? And I noticed that a couple of these interviews, for instance, Dorothy Melvin was interviewed on February 19th, 2003, some 16 days after Ms. Clarkson was killed. Do you consult with a district attorney, for instance, or a defense investigator or defense attorney or a judge or anybody else before you go interview a witness so that you can get a script of every single question that might be asked at trial?
Absolutely not.
And what is the purpose, the form and substance, I guess, of an interview when you go out initially during the infancy of an investigation to begin culling information and putting information together for a full investigation?
Basically, it's just an initial contact to see if there is something of substance. In this case, particularly, you mentioned Dorothy Melvin. If we remember correctly, the reason we are here is for the shooting death of Lana Clarkson. I had received information that Ms. Melvin might have been a quote-unquote victim of Mr. Spector previously having a gun drawn on her. In interviewing her, it was not the intent of specifically going over the incident pertaining to her, but just a generalization. Okay, are there any similarities to what occurred over at Mr. Spector's residence?
As a matter of fact, during the course of your interview, you took a few notes, correct?
Yes.
And then you memorialized those notes with Dorothy Melvin into a report. Is that right?
Yes.
And that's the report Mr. Rosen showed you and made reference to, and you met with him yesterday and chatted about your report, correct?
Yes.
I can have just a second.
All right.
Okay, and you recall that your finalized report was about 3.5 pages or so during the course of, referring to the course of your conversation with Dorothy Melvin, correct?
Correct.
In fact, you're aware of how long Dorothy Melvin was on the witness stand. Generally, you weren't in here, but you're aware that she was on the stand for the better part of a day and a half, 2 days or so, correct?
Correct.
All right, she was asked a substantial number of questions by the district attorneys, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon asked those questions, and then she was cross-examined there was a lengthy cross-examination by the defense counsel as well, correct?
Yes.
Now, did you, during the course of your interview with Ms. Melvin, did you ask every single question that was asked on direct cross-examination, redirect examination, recross-examination, and so forth?
No.
All right. Were you trying to get the flavor of what Ms. Melvin's testimony could
figure it
potentially
out.
be?
Yes.
All right. And did you turn that report over in an
Dude,
effort to
Christina,
provide
right?
both sides? And, you know,
Dude, I love this hat so much. Like, Dan, when I pulled it out of the box, I was literally like, holy shit, dude, you just killed the fuck out of this gift. Like, you know, I'd feel like I'm terrible at gifts. And, no, dude, he absolutely murdered it. Is this thing woken up yet? Is anything working? Fuck no. Still not working, but hell yeah.
the discovery rules here in California are very clear. Both sides get access to all the information to provide both sides with potentially pertinent information.
Yes.
And then obviously that information could be explored more fully during the course of a trial, correct?
Correct.
And that's in fact why we have trials, is that right?
Yes.
All right. This report, and any of your reports, and this is sort of foundational, I should say none of your reports are intended to be as comprehensive as, for instance, trial testimony.
Correct.
That would make investigating a case practically, from a practical standpoint, which we do all across the country every single day, an impossibility, wouldn't it?
Yes.
All right. When you interview a witness, is it important, and you said you've had substantial training concerning this, and I want to call on your training a little bit and call on your experience as a homicide investigator and a police officer for some 21 years writing reports. Is it important to make sure that you get fresh information, and when I say fresh, I mean an individual's information during the course of an interview, untainted information?
Yes.
I'm just going to object on grounds of vagueness overruled.
Did you understand my question?
Yes, I did.
All right. During the course of interviewing witnesses, do you make sure, say for instance, let's just take an example. Say for instance you're dealing with a domestic dispute and there's 2 or 3 or 4 people in the house. Is it important when you begin interviewing witnesses to determine what happened or what didn't happen, to make sure you separate those witnesses out?
Absolutely, it's very important.
Why, Detective Tomlin, is that important as an investigative tool or technique?
Because people see things differently. You can have 2 people can witness one event and they would articulate different facts about what occurred. You do not want the 2 to be together to influence one influencing the other or vice versa. So you do want to have a clean, fresh take on what that person specifically saw, heard, or what have you. So you separate people and interview them separately.
Is it possible, if you interview individuals together, for instance in the same room, and somebody's answering a question of yours, that information could contaminate the memory or the perception of the other witness?
Absolutely.
And that's something that you obviously want to strictly avoid when you engage in proper investigative techniques, correct?
I'm going to object this beyond the scope of the record. I'm going to move to strike the last answer.
I'm going to allow it, but let's, at this point, the witness was called for a specific reason. This generally fits within it, but if you want to call him as your own witness, you may at a later time.
Your Honor, if I could, I may be able to shut this door with one final question.
I'll allow one question.
Is it possible that when you interview witnesses together, as opposed to separating witnesses, that one witness's memories or perceptions could influence unduly the other witnesses?
Yes.
All right. Now, specifically, I'm going to turn my attention for just a second, turn your attention for just a second, on the specific questions that Mr. Rosen was asking you about a couple of these different witnesses. Concerning Miss Melvin first, had you specifically told Miss Melvin that you were going to show up to interview her about circumstances that may have happened several years earlier?
No, my partner and I just showed up at her front door.
All right. When you showed up unannounced?
Yes.
All right. Obviously, during the course of investigating hundreds, maybe thousands of homicides, sometimes that's a good technique to use, correct?
Yes.
Some people are less than happy when somebody shows up with a gun and a badge at their front door, correct?
Correct.
All right. So in this particular case, you had never met Miss Melvin?
No.
You'd simply gotten some information that she may be able to provide certain information, correct?
Correct.
And you showed up unannounced with your partner and sat down to interview her for a few minutes. Is that right?
Yes.
And that's the result of that conversation is the memorialization in your report.
Yes.
She was not offered an opportunity to sit and think and ponder back to these occasions, correct?
Correct.
You were simply asking her, kind of on a cold memory, tell us what you recall about these incidents or this incident, correct?
Exactly.
All right. Is it your experience in dealing with witnesses that when you do that, when you engage in when you engage in an interview, I guess, that's kind of cold, and I'm using that in a colloquial sense, that when the witness has an opportunity to sit down, relax, take a deep breath,
let's calm down.
reflect a little bit,
I've been
that their
high
memory
this
can sometimes get a little better about
Let's
specific
simmer down.
details.
Yes.
All right. That's not uncommon in your experience.
Let me get
Personal
let me
or
get out
professionally, no.
something in there.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rosen asked you about
Oh, just take a breather.
whether or not Ms. Melvin explained to you
Jerry.
specifically that Mr. Spector was drinking from a vodka
Jerry, my shit's fucked up. I'd have popped your name up there, bud. Thanks for coming in here.
bottle with a glass handle and basically swilling from the bottle itself. You remember that question?
Yes.
And you indicated that she didn't say that specifically to you, correct?
Correct.
All right. Did you ask her that question?
No, I did not.
All right, explain that for me.
I asked, had they been drinking, and she mentioned that he had been drinking vodka.
All right. Did Miss Melvin, did all the ladies that Mr. Rosen has asked you about, Miss Melvin, Miss Jennings, Miss Davis, and Miss Holguin,
Welcome to
did
everybody.
they all
Thank you all
appear
for
to
coming
be
in this morning.
answering the questions that you were
Call a
asking?
hot one.
Yes.
All right. Do you start an interview by
Who's it
simply
about?
saying, I want you to tell me everything you know about 1994,
No.
and just leave it at that and let a narrative run on and on and on?
No.
All right. Is your investigative technique, Detective Tomlin, to try to focus the attention of the witness on the information that you're most concerned with?
Correct.
All right. In other words, for instance, when you were interviewing Miss Melvin, was it your intention to say, for instance, find out if Mr. Spector had been drinking that night?
Correct.
Did you ask that question?
Yes, I did.
Did she answer it appropriately?
Yes, she did.
Did she appear to understand your question?
Yes.
Was she offering a bunch more information than you were asking, or was she narrowing or focusing her questions to her answers
not the free counsel.
to the tailored questions that you were asking?
She was focusing on the questions that were asked.
Okay, so when you asked, was Mr. Spector drinking that night, or were you two drinking, her answer was?
Mr. Spector was drinking vodka.
All right. And did you then move on to another subject?
Yes.
Did you relate in your report that Mr. Spector was, in fact, according to the witness, drinking vodka?
Yes, I did.
So if, in fact, Ms. Melvin were to be asked on direct examination by Mr. Dixon, could you explain to the jurors during the course of this trial?
I was going to check this. Did we just get a ruling in court about this?
No, this is something different. I disagree.
I'm not going to quote any testimony.
Let me hear. First of all, I haven't even heard the question, Mr. Rosen. I don't
Mr.
think it's a
Rosen,
problem. It may turn
You
out to be.
sit the fuck down, dude. Huh? What's even happening? He ain't even finished the fucking question. Over here running your fucking mouth.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
That's what you like to do. You sit there, yapping your gums around, trying to figure out some kind of way to get old Phil Spector off. My God, that's his job. That's what he's getting paid for. Don't get me wrong.
This is gun country.
That's what I think about it.
Go ahead and ask your question.
Maybe. If Mr. Dixon asked a question, for instance, and I don't remember exactly what it is, some
Rosen
people
and
might.
Jackson.
We're going
Let's
to be
go.
using that joke the whole rest of the trial, by
Put
the
on the
way.
gloves.
They get every
Make
mile
it
out of
fair.
If Mr. Dixon asked a question, for instance, Ms. Melvin, can you tell us what exactly was Mr. Spector drinking from? That was not necessarily a question that you asked, correct?
No, as I didn't see the importance of that in regards to, once again, the shooting of Lana Clarkson.
Okay, but of course, during a trial, Mr. Dixon may think differently and want to expand a little bit on his questions.
Yes.
Or defense counsel may think differently and want to expand on other details of witness interviews, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Again, and I'm not going to go through every point because I think, well, I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to go through every point that Mr. Rosen made, but regarding Ms. Melvin's statements about being hit in the head, she did tell you that she was hit in the head by Mr. Spector, correct?
She said twice. She was hit in the head twice.
All right. Did you specifically ask her, did you engage in any treatment, any self-treatment, anything like that? Did you put Neosporin on your head or anything like that?
I just asked her a general question, did you seek medical treatment?
Okay, and what was her answer?
No, she did not.
Okay. And if in fact she indicated, I'll withdraw that. I can see Mr. Rosen was coming out of his chair already.
Excellent technique, Mr. Rosen.
All right, Miss
I
Jennings.
start growling at him.
Yeah, right. It works. Miss Jennings, let's talk about Miss Jennings for just a second. Mr. Rosen asked you a question about Miss Jennings' statements to you concerning seeing Mr. Spector coming out of the bathroom at the restaurant in New York. You recall that?
Yes.
And he asked you if she had made a specific statement about, or if she had related to you a specific statement that Mr. Spector made. And I can't even remember what the actual quote was, but you remember the question.
Yes.
And your answer was no, she didn't make that specific statement, correct?
Correct.
Or you didn't remember it?
I don't recall if she made that.
You do recall, in fact, Ms. Jennings indicating to you that when she saw Mr. Spector come out of the bathroom, or when she approached him, I guess, in the restaurant, that he did, in fact, make a statement to her, correct?
Correct.
And that statement that he made to her at that time was, quote, well, I almost shot you, correct?
Correct.
And that took her back a little bit, right?
Yes.
And she indicated that she thought that was an odd and a weird thing for Mr. Spector to say upon an initial meeting, correct?
Correct.
Almost shot you. Oh, that's just how he greets folks. That's how he likes to greet
Yes.
folks.
All right.
Almost shot you.
He asked you,
That's his,
Mr. Rosen asked you about the Carlisle Hotel incident specifically, and I want to move my
That's
attention
his
to that. He asked you whether or not
That's him whispering.
Ms. Spector related to
lady's
you
ear.
when Mr. Sorry.
Got him over there. Almost shot you today. Oh God, yeah.
Ms. Jennings related to you that when Mr. Spector walked into the room, did she tell you specifically he pointed
This
a
is
gun
gun
at you?
country.
And you indicated no, that's not in my report, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to ask you a little broader question, not what's just in your report, but what did she relate to you about what happened when Mr. Spector walked into the room the second time?
That he walked in with a gun. She was extremely upset, scared, and she dialed 911.
Okay.
Like, the news at all times is just absolute madness. I forgot to put Phil back up there, so we'll just leave him off because I'm going to show this one anyways. Yeah, everything is fucking stupid. I'm not sure if anyone realizes that. Two Oregon men found dead from exposure in forest while looking for Sasquatch. Two Sasquatch hunters died after they were missing while searching for the elusive mythical creature in the Oregon wilderness on Christmas Eve, no doubt. What a Christmas. I can't feel my fingers. The bodies of two men ages 37 and 59 were found in a heavily wooded area of the Guilford-Pinchot National Forest in Washington State. Police said the pair appeared to have died of exposure amid the harsh weather conditions and their ill preparedness for the forest. They got wasted. They got fucking drunk the night before. They said, you know, I'm off tomorrow. You off? You got to go to work for Christmas? Hell no. Let's go up there in the woods and find a fucking Bigfoot. I know where he's at. We don't need all this shit. We'll be right back. The men had set out on their excursion into the wilderness, hoping to spot Bigfoot with intentions to return home before Christmas. I like this ladder bridge across. That's pretty awesome. The family reported the two men missing to Skamania County Police around 1 a.m. on Christmas morning. A grueling 3-day search was conducted for the men as over 60 volunteer search and rescue personnel took to the area looking for the Bigfoot fanatics. The search party fought through freezing temperatures, snow, rain, and the heavily wooded terrain. 7 separate law enforcement agencies from around the area and the Coast Guard offered services and helped in the search that included canines, drones, ground teams, and helicopters. Damn, this was pretty large search effort. Well, of course, you know, I got some folks missing here. Their exhaustive search efforts resulted in bringing family members home to their loved ones, the sheriff said. The Skamania County Sheriff's Office extends our deepest sympathies and condolences. The unidentified pair's car was spotted on a flock camera before police located it in Willard, Washington. Legend of the hairy bite living in the Pacific Northwest has captured the minds of many, leading to thrill seekers to travel to the wilderness. There's there's my favorite Bigfoot movie. Oh, man, what's it called? It's by Bobcat Goldthwait, dude. He's the director. It's really good. Hold on. Bigfoot movie. Oh, that sucks. It's horrible. that these folks... Okay, Willow Creek. If anybody has a chance to check out, it's from 2013, Willow Creek. It is a great, great film. It's done really good. It's shot in like a found footage style. I'm not going to show that. It's shot in a found footage style, film or a movie. But man, it hits. It hits really well, and it actually, it doesn't go completely in with that story, but it's a really, really good. The Pacific Northwest isn't the only area in the country known for its Sasquatch lures. In October, residents in Fairfield County, Connecticut, reported hearing screams coming from the supposed Bigfoot. You always hear these stories, and then I'm sure people have seen online, people get in deep on some Bigfoot shit. The howls were admitted from a forested area near the town of Monroe on October 17, 2023, according to the Bigfoot Field Research Organization. Each yelp lasted roughly 10 seconds and halted before repeating. This voice had quite a bit of power behind it, and I could tell that it was carried over a distance. I would rough guesstimate it took 2 clicks, 1.25 miles from my cords, an anonymous witness said. But yeah, man, I like looking into this stuff. Like, I don't think I truly believe, maybe like some kind of creature long ago, but also who fucking knows, right? Like, I don't fucking know, but that is interesting, and it's horrible. 2 men went out on Christmas Eve and said, let's find this son of a bitch, but also stupid for going out there and not being prepared whatsoever. Kaylin, welcome in here. Christopher Dewitt, welcome in here. What's going on, guys? You're coming in on a very hot morning. I've been going nuts on everybody and everything.
So when Mr. Rosen asked you, did you put in your report, specifically the quotations, he pointed the gun at me, that's not in your report, correct?
Correct.
But what is in your report is...
The share, Miss Dean with the share. Thanks, everybody. Got a house in here this morning.
That Spector then pulled a small handgun out and sat down in front of her door, preventing her from leaving.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't believe all of those either. There's some weird shit out there.
Jennings picked up the phone and dialed 911.
The Bigfoot one has yet to really...
That is in your report, correct?
Bring us anything, right?
What was your take, what was your impression, you're the one talking to her, about what Ms. Jennings was trying to relate to you during the course of your conversation about what Mr. Spector did when he walked in the door?
Objection to relevancy and materiality.
Sustained.
All right.
At this point, we've reached the noon hour.
Didn't quite finish. Okay.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind the admonition. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30 in the morning. Thank you. All right?
We're coming back in the morning.
We're recess.
In the morning time, we coming right back in the morning time. I gotta fix this right here. We still got this man with us here for 42 minutes. Detective Richard Tomlin. Everybody coming through that's hanging, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Let me fix my little thing here. I was trying to make that proper so we could see it. And it looks about right, I reckon. Let me also get a field banner up here. Took my field banner down. I always take the banners down just in case I want to use it as a clip or something. And I don't want Phil on there for my clips. They're like, what the hell? Who's this? The hell's going on? I'm confused as hell. I'm going to leave a comment about it. Which is also appreciated. I love it. I love it when a comment comes through, even if it's a negative one. I think somebody on my last, even I did delete it. Maybe I should leave it. They say leave them, but then I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. On one of the latest murder churches. I think it was an older one. Somebody must have found it and was like, I'm going to give this a shot. And they actually called it out by name. They said, Steve talks too much. I'm like, oh, well, I think that's kind of the point of these shows. It is publicly buzzed. It's me up here, just sort of bullshitting around. Chris, hope you had a good holiday, man. Good to see Chris Stewart in here. We got a show coming up soon. That might be this Friday. I need to get with him to check his schedule. We do have a show coming up soon. And hopefully we can get Dan on that one as well. But for a Feral Friday, which means an exclusive party on Kick. All right, we'll start here on the YouTubes. Folks know. Folks already know. And if you don't know, you should know. That's why I really repeat myself. Kick with Chris Stewart, Dan. Going to be watching a little old school Rescue 911. Who remembers that show? All right. Who in the chat did that show absolutely ruin and give nightmares to? The reenactments on Rescue 911 were fucking crazy. I remember watching that as a child and it being like a horror movie, essentially. Like the drama that they would bring, and the gore at times, and the traumatic scenes and imagery that you would be processing through your head at a very young age, at least for me. Thanks everyone for coming through. We got a wheel spin. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and spin this son of a bitch. Let's spin this son of a bitch. Good luck, everybody. This is for some stickers this morning. We're going to be giving away a Murder Church sticky. We got a Mouter Church. We got the Kitty Priest in the house. And then, of course, the classic logo. I've got to get stickers with this Mandy logo, actually. That'll be my next one, huh? And then I saw I have the option to get magnets, too. Would anybody be interested in magnets? All right, let's rock and roll. Let me turn off the green screen so we can see what is happening. All right, Dizzy loved that show. It was a good one, man. Like, Rescue 911. Right in there with, like, Cops and America's Most Wanted and Unsolved Mysteries. Like, that right there could be a network. That would be a network television channel. Good luck, everyone. Ooh, that's a good spin. I had to tighten this thing up on Friday. It almost fell off into the floor. I think it's Gabby. I think that's Gabby. Ladies and gentlemen, Chef Gabby. If no one's in the Discord and seeing the stuff that Gabby is cooking, you're missing out, because holy shit. And like I said earlier, as soon as I started the show out, I don't know if Gabby's still hanging out or not. Congratulations, Gabby. And let me get you some love and get you on the list here so I don't forget, because that will definitely happen. But Gabby, congratulations. And again, Gabby, man, is amazing. Always showing love, keeping the Discord active also, which is awesome. Always love, at least every day, always posting a little something in there, trying to get some chat going. Love it. Gabby, stickers. Boom. Hell yeah. Thank you so much. Everybody coming through this morning that made that will possible. Thank you all so much. Buzz Nation does not mess around. And we're growing this thing. We're going into 2025. Can you believe that? Can you believe we're going into 2025? It's craziness. It's craziness. And now this thing is exactly what I want it to be. All right. Dan as well. Like, this is exactly what it really should have been. We have an entire night set up for whatever the fuck we want to do with people who enjoy watching it with us. That's insane. You know how hard that is to do? That's crazy. Also, an entirely different separate brand called Murder Church that you're hanging out on right now with inside of Publicly Buzzed. It's madness. I'm incredibly happy, incredibly stoked to get this thing, keeping it rolling deep into the 20s, actually. Let's keep her going, baby.
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
Maybe I am a little bit crazy.
Welcome to the party, pal.
With the exception of the jurors and the alternates. All right, we've been back in chambers actually going over scheduling of certain witnesses and also trying to resolve the matter of Ms. Kaplan. There she is. I say, will you come forward, please? Thank you.
Some people can't get a win on that wheel.
All right, she's present with her counsel.
Gypsy has 2 wins,
the Supreme Court
and been on there twice,
denied the writ, and the court having stayed your incarceration until this time, I need to ask, are you prepared now to testify?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So were they still just warning her with incarceration like from earlier in the trial, or did she actually get incarcerated for, you know, she doesn't want to like...
I assumed you were going to testify this morning, and because of that, I ordered you in, your counsel. Just a second. There's a whole matter going on here, which is about to become public as to whether you will or will not testify this morning, because I know you had a court appearance, which I, through my clerk, indicated you were to be here this morning, because technically you're in custody. Not in actual custody, but you are. My understanding is, in chambers this morning, I asked the district attorneys if they were prepared to move forward with Ms. Kaplan, and you can tell me, Mr. Jackson, what your position is.
Your Honor, based on conversations that we had, extensive conversations that we had last night with Mr. Plourd, just so the record's clear, Mr. Plourd acts as liaison for the defense side. Mr. Ocampo, who's in the court behind Ms. Kaplan, acts as sort of the liaison on our side, dealing with witness schedules. Through no fault of their own, Mr. Plourd and Mr. Ocampo had several conversations going all the way into the late evening hours. I think the last phone call I received from Rick Ocampo was probably about 9 or 9:30 last night, and he had just gotten a call from Mr. Plourd. They were both burning the midnight oil, as it were. The information that was relayed to Mr. Plourd was that Mr. Nassatir specifically said Ms. Kaplan is unprepared to testify, or either that or I'm unprepared to be there with her to testify. In other words, she's not going to testify tomorrow, and my first availability is the 23rd of July, which is, I think, a week from Monday. Mr. Plord kindly related that to Mr. Ocampo, who then in turn called me, and I contacted Mr. Dixon. Based on that, and the subsequent conversations between Mr. Plord and Mr. Ocampo extensively talking about the witness.
Phil's wearing. He's got the gray suit, the orange tie.
That we're going to be here today, starting with Mr. Tomlin, Detective Tomlin, following up with Angela and Kathy Pileggi, following them up with Pumpkin Pie Laughlin, following her up with Steve Renteria, and the schedules involved with that. That's what we prepared for today. I was still working on it until 9:30, 10 last night based on that. I haven't reviewed, even though I was here, obviously, I haven't reviewed Ms. Kaplan's testimony. I didn't review the video of her testimony. I didn't review the transcripts. I was kind of detrimentally relying on the representations of Mr. Nassatir to Mr. Plord through Mr. Ocampo. So that's our position at this point.
Yeah, Mr. Nassatir did ask to have everything scheduled for the 23rd when he would be available, but then apparently he called me back, said the court said be there tomorrow. Basically, we read that as we've got to be ready to go, so we prepared in case we would go forward.
Get with Mandy.
Whatever the court wants to do is fine with us, but we're prepared to proceed if that's the choice that the court makes.
She would design something badass.
Prepared either way. We've got witnesses that are hanging fire, but we'll work through that, so we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm going to hear from you. Go ahead.
Yeah. If they subpoenaed me weeks ago, I believe they should be ready. This has taken so much time out of my work and my life, my family. I haven't been able to go on a vacation with my son. I was supposed to start a trial today. I have other clients too.
Okay, I can
spewing off every
1:30 this afternoon.
excuse in existence.
1:30, if you need to go over a testimony, you have a lunch hour to do so. You're familiar with it.
I have a son. I have work. I have obligations. I have to do this. I have to do that. Oh God, how am I going to make time for this?
But if you need to regroup, so 1:30 this afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, let's get the detective. Mr. Brunon, how are you? What can I do for you today?
Dude, the way the judge handles these people is hilarious. He's the best, man. Larry Fiddler, Judge Diehard, the man.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Yes.
Given the posture of the case, the fact that she's going to
Long
testify
lost cousin of Tell me I'm wrong.
Quiet, please.
we're obviously going to be required to cross-examine her. I just want to put it on the record that the jury was inconvenienced that by us undertaking that examination.
The court, I fully understand that. Okay. All right, so are we ready to bring the jurors in?
I'm sorry.
Are we ready to bring the jurors in? All right, let's do so. Back on the record, the jurors and alternates are now present, and Detective, you've previously been sworn, you remain under oath, and you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Detective.
Good morning.
Yesterday when we left off, I just asked you about your conversation with Stephanie Jennings. Do you recall that?
Yes.
All right, and we were talking about what Ms. Jennings told you concerning Philip Spector walking into the hotel room with the gun in his hand. Do you remember that?
Yes.
All right, what did she tell you with that regard?
She said that he walked in with...
There's some like old Three Stooges, some old Three Stooges that they would do like the 3D effect, and that was in like the 30s and 40s, and they basically just like punch at this camera. They just like do that. But look at that, it's kind of coming out, right? It's coming out, it's on, stop tripping.
with the gun. He would not allow her to leave. She became very upset and dialed 911.
All right, did she indicate to you that he would not allow her to leave because he was holding her at gunpoint?
I don't know if she specifically used those terms, but it was apparent during the conversation. That's why she couldn't leave.
Okay. Did she say that when he walked in with the gun, he was holding the gun the whole time as opposed to, for instance, setting it down?
Yes, he had the gun in his hand.
All right. And did she further explain to you that when he walked into the room, he actually placed a chair in front of the door of the hotel room and sat in the chair with the gun.
Yes.
Did she explain to you that he was waving the gun all around at times?
Yes.
All right.
Objector's line of questioning is beyond the scope of the House.
Overruled.
I'm sorry, the answer was?
Yes.
Okay. So clearly, when you were referring in your report to Ms. Jennings, I'm sorry, Mr. Spector, quote, pulled a small handgun out and sat down in front of the door, preventing her from leaving, you were simply summarizing the fact that he was preventing her from leaving because he had a gun and he was placing himself in front of the front door. I'm sorry, the only exit to the room, the door of the hotel room, correct?
Correct.
All right. You'll give me just a second. I got to get my thoughts together from yesterday and make sure I don't want to cover things twice. She also indicated to you, did she not, that she called the police as a result of this?
Yes.
And you're aware of subsequent investigation that revealed what we here in Los Angeles call an MDT log or an MDT record of the 911 incident, correct?
Correct.
And you've been privy to that and you've seen it, correct?
Yes.
And that appears in your mind as an investigator to corroborate what she said.
Absolutely.
All right. Did Ms. Jennings tell you that you were asked by Mr. Rosen whether or not she actually said the words, Mr. Spector had two personalities? Do you recall being asked that by Mr. Rosen?
Yes.
And I think your answer was, well, actually, you weren't asked if she ever said that. You were asked, were those words in your report, correct?
Correct.
All right. Did Ms. Jennings explain to you during the course of your interview with her that, in fact, at times she had had a good time with Mr. Spector and dated him, and they had nice times out?
Yes.
Did she tell you that on this particular occasion, after Mr. Spector had been drinking, that his attitude and his mood changed when she refused to come to his room?
Yes.
All right. Is that consistent with... well, let me ask it this way. Did she suggest to you during the course of your conversation that Mr. Spector's mood changed pretty dramatically from the dating relationship, for instance, wherein they had a nice time, to the hotel room where he held her at gunpoint and would not let her leave?
Yes.
All right. You also spoke with Romy Davis. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And you were asked if in your report you wrote specifically that, let me start that question over because I paused so much I lost my own train of thought. You were asked, I think, by Mr. Rosen whether or not your report indicates, not whether or not you were told this, but whether your report states that they each had 2 drinks. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you indicated the report doesn't say that, correct?
Correct.
At the time that you interviewed Miss Davis, isn't it true that Miss Davis told you that she thought they had drinks? They might have had, she might have had a glass of Merlot and Mr. Spector might have had a daiquiri, correct?
Correct.
But she wasn't sure.
Right.
Her best recollection was, well, we might have had drinks, but I'm not sure, correct?
Yes.
All right, since then, your investigation has uncovered the actual bar tab, correct?
Correct.
And you verified that, in fact, they both, well, at least 2 drinks apiece were ordered.
Well, a total of 4 drinks were ordered.
Correct. And that is consistent, and by the way, 2 of those drinks were daiquiris, right?
Yes.
And that's consistent with what Ms. Romy Davis told you her best recollection of that evening was, correct?
Yes.
All right. In your report, it's a bad way to ask it. I'm more interested not what your report says, but what Ms. Romy Davis told you. Did she tell you that at the end of the evening, I think Mr. Rosen asked you this question, by the end of the evening when he took her home or had her driven home by Adriana D'Souza, were either one of them drunk, correct?
Correct.
All right. Your understanding of your investigation, based on your investigation in this case, is the evening, the portion of the evening that was at the grill was the beginning of the evening, correct?
Yes.
All right, so based on the receipts from the grill, Trader Vic's, Dan Tana's, House of Blues, those went in that chronological order, correct? In other words, Mr. Spector went from one to the next in the order I just indicated.
Yes.
All right. Ms. Davis could only tell you about what her observations were at the end of the grill portion of the evening, correct?
Correct.
So in other words, Mr. Spector wasn't drunk yet, correct?
No, he was not drunk at that time.
Thank you. You also spoke, and I think Mr. Rosen asked you a couple of questions about your interview with Sophia Hulen, correct?
Yes.
And once again, I'm going to ask you just to remind us, your entire conversation is contained basically on one page, single space, couple of paragraphs, typewritten report, correct?
Correct.
This was not the type of intensive interview that, for instance, Ms. Hulen was subjected to during direct examination, cross-examination, redirect, and recross, correct?
Correct.
All right. And this report is, in fact, just a summary or paraphrasing of your conversation. Is that right?
Right.
Look at all my new ones. Yeah. My new emojis.
During the course of your conversation with Ms. Hulen, did you ever ask her, did Mr. Spector ever invite you to go home with him?
I don't believe I did, no.
All right. And therefore, if you did...
The best one is the fajita emoji. For whenever there's fajitas, the mods know.
Didn't ask it, she didn't volunteer that information.
That's correct.
All right, but you do recall during her trial testimony, she was specifically asked that question, correct?
Yes.
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
Mr. Rosen asked you if in your report, not what Ms. Hulen said to you, but if in your report the word agitated came up. In other words, did Ms. Hulen, I'm sorry, did you relate in your report that Ms. Hulen said the defendant was agitated? Do you remember that question?
Yes.
And you indicated you reviewed your report and said, no, that word, I didn't write that word. He was agitated in my report, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Hulen did, in fact, tell you, though, that during the course of the evening when Mr. Spector ordered the drinks that he was ordering for himself and the other woman, and by the way, Ms. Hulen didn't know her name, but you have since learned that that is Kathy Sullivan, correct?
Correct.
All right. When Mr. Spector ordered the drinks, the other woman, as it were, Kathy Sullivan, ordered a water, correct?
Correct.
And Ms. Hulen did relate to you that Mr. Spector said, why don't you get a drink? And the other woman, Ms. Sullivan, said, no, I just want water. Is that right?
Relevancy beyond the scope of the direction in this area.
Overruled.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Did Ms. Hulen also indicate that Spector then said, just get a drink, get a fucking drink? And Mr. Spector's tone of voice made Hulen, quote, uncomfortable.
That is correct.
All right. So you didn't use the word agitated, but you did relate
Coming on a
what the
wild
words
one.
were that Ms. Hulen related to you in your
warm-ups
report,
this
correct?
morning.
Correct.
All right. Ms. Hulen then said that notwithstanding the
That
demand
one's
by
the
Mr.
Navy
Spector,
grog. That one is
the
specifically for
other woman,
Bill Spector.
Kathy Sullivan, said,
There's
no, I
something
just
in there
want
probably
water.
can.
And
Maybe
Mr.
the UFOs.
Spector
That one was for the UFO
ordered
show.
Bacardi 151 straight up, correct?
Yes.
All
I'm trying
right.
to
That's
think
what
of
Ms.
another
Hulen
shirt.
told you.
Did I have another shirt?
that right?
What were we
Yes.
talking about earlier with a shirt? Oh, hold on.
And she told you also that Mr. Spector finished the Bacardi 151, correct?
Yes.
And she also told you that Mr. Spector, in her opinion, had had too much to drink and was under the influence. Did she not?
Yes, she did.
There we go. Pull up in the chat. A lot of
I think
Tector emoji was pretty
Mr.
interesting.
Rosen may have asked
And
you,
Chris, of course.
did
I
you
thought
relate
about
in your
the Chris one
report
before.
that Ms.
Need to get a good
Hulen
picture
said
of Chris, which
that
I
Mr.
have.
Spector was drunk or appeared drunk to her? And you indicated, no, you didn't use that word, correct?
Correct.
But you did indicate that Ms. Hulen felt he had too much to drink and was possibly under the influence.
Yes.
All right. During the course of your interviews, you've already indicated yesterday the proper scope of they're not the right word. The proper procedure would be to interview witnesses individually rather than together, correct?
Objection, asked and answered this whole explanation yesterday on cross.
I believe it has, and I don't remember anything, of course, since you're still on your cross-examination, it's already been done.
I'll simply ask one further question, and See if the court allows it. We'll
Okay.
check
I'm
it
gonna
out.
show this.
Have you
so
ever
this was-
consumed alcohol with an interviewee?
I was going back and I was trying to get another. Actually, I was trying to find a logo, that logo that's in there that Mandy had put in Discord once upon a time, and it had been a while because I didn't just have it saved. But when I did that, when I had to go searching for it, I found this piece of amazing art that she had done once upon a time, and I'm not sure if anybody had seen it or not, but it's pretty freaking sweet. The OG's up in this motherfucker. Where Phil's blocking it. Phil, get your head out of here. Look at that shit right there, huh? Old school Steve, small beard, Bob, Mount Rushmore of true crime, Jay, Dan, boom. Now that would be a dope shirt, actually. Sorry, just want to show that off real quick.
Overruled.
No. Would that be proper?
Absolutely
That
not.
would be completely improper, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I'm looking for Chris now, guys. Let me-
Why would that be improper to sit around and have drinks with someone that you're interviewing during a criminal investigation?
Just on face value, you should not be drinking alcohol while you're trying to conduct a...
Kaylin, you missed the effing oath episode of Feral Friday? My God. That was an all-time.
business.
You shouldn't be drinking alcohol,
Let me...
correct?
Correct.
Because you're on the job,
Correct.
and the witness shouldn't be drinking alcohol, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because you want that person to have a clear state of mind when they're speaking with you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Just hold on a second while the person...
Whose fucking phone is ringing right now? I ain't gonna hear that shit again.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Listen, if it rings again, you're doing life.
leaves.
Sorry?
Somebody's going to step out.
Someone's getting the hell
Not
out
you.
of here. Right now.
Okay. Now you may
Disrespecting
redirect.
this courtroom. I wish it was Rosin.
thought I did
Get
something
the
right.
hell out of here, Rosin, you son of
No,
a
no,
bitch.
no. It happened behind you.
Okay. Well,
Oh,
actually,
here
I
we go.
didn't. You
Got a
would have told me.
picture. Uh-oh.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Tomlin.
Good morning.
I want to cover a few of the areas that Mr. Jackson covered with you. Mr. Jackson asked you whether or not your reports are intended to be a verbatim reporting of the conversations with the witnesses. You remember that question?
Yes.
And your answer to it was no, correct?
Correct.
It's supposed to be accurate, correct?
Yes.
It's supposed to be as complete as it can be, correct?
Complete as far as what I determined at that time to be pertinent to the investigation.
Okay, it's going to be truthful, that's for sure, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and it's certainly going to embody and contain the important points of an investigation. That's a given, isn't it?
Hopefully, yes, that is the intent.
Okay. When you conducted interviews with the individuals we spoke to, these interviews took place within the last couple of years, starting sometime after February 3rd of '03, correct?
Correct.
And therefore, prior to February 3rd of '03, you had conducted many, probably thousands of interviews with various potential witnesses?
Yes.
Written thousands of reports, correct?
Yes.
And you've always tried to be accurate, correct?
Correct.
And you've always tried to be truthful, correct?
Correct.
So when you started to conduct your investigation in this case, you brought all that experience and those disciplines to the table with you, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. So let me understand something correctly. We talked about, I believe it was 4 interviews yesterday, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. We spoke about, let's see if we can go through these. We spoke about Miss Melvin, right?
Yes.
We spoke about Miss Jennings, correct?
Yes.
We spoke about Miss Davis, is that right?
Yes.
And we spoke
Chopper. The movie was called Chopper. Chopper.
about
That's not a knife.
Miss Holkeen, correct?
Yes.
This was an important case, a big case, correct?
All murder cases, to me, are very important, yes.
Exactly. And you've investigating many of them, correct?
Yes.
All right. And in this particular case, the defendant, Mr. Spector, was different than any defendants you've had before because of the fact that he was somebody that was known, correct?
Yes.
So in terms of your investigation, you wanted to make sure that you crossed every T and you dotted every I, isn't that right?
As in every case I try to, yes.
And in particular in this case, correct?
This is...
No different than any other case, right?
It is, obviously it is different, but at the same time, as far as my investigation, it's going to be the same.
Okay, so you were as careful in this case in terms of reporting what witnesses told you as in any other case you've investigated. That's a fair statement, yes?
I attempted to be, yes.
You should have Chris do it emojis. Let's see what they look like. See if they came
Now,
out
as
right.
I understand it,
I'm not sure.
in working for the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, you had certain technical facilities available to you, such as cameras, such as recording devices, such as tape recorders, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, in this particular case, you did tape record some witnesses, correct?
Correct.
For example, did you tape record Miss Jennings? You did, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you tape record Miss Holkeen? You did, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Chris do it emojis are in the chat.
But you didn't tape record Miss Melvin, did you?
No, I did not.
You look pretty good too.
And you didn't tape record Miss Davis, did you?
No, I did not.
And as I understand it, Miss Davis
There's the dream team.
was interviewed by you. You were interested in
There's
talking
the
to Miss
dream
Davis
team.
because she was with Mr.
There's the true crime dream fucking team. You got Jay, Chris Dewitt, Bob Mata, myself, and Dan.
Spector that night, correct?
Correct.
So in your eyes, strike that. As you go through an investigation, you make a determination as a Los Angeles County Deputy Sheriff homicide investigator that some witnesses may be more important than others. It's
Remember,
just a
14
checklist, right?
months. Thank
Yes.
you. That's incredible. It's been 14 months. Hot damn them bears. She's going to lace it up getting drunk early this morning.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you so much, Amber. Love that.
Miss Davis was fairly high up on the list, and she had been with Mr. Spector that evening, correct?
Amber is the color of your energy.
Whoa.
She was a person definitely wanted to interview.
Yeah, I didn't ask.
How about we start out another will? Well, how about we do that right now? Kathy coming through the Venmo machine with a 420. Pumpkin will be a winner eventually. We've been trying to get Pumpkin a win on the wheel for a bunch of weeks now, maybe even into a month now, and we're going to get there. Thank you so much for that 420. Good luck, Pumpkin. Thank you.
Ask you that. What I asked you was, she was a person that was high on the list because in your mind she would have been with Mr. Spector that evening and you wanted to talk to her about that, correct?
I'm going to object at this point. It's getting leading
Overruled.
beyond the foundation.
I'll allow it.
Thank you.
Yes, she was an important witness.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And if you wanted to capture
You're right.
that interview so that at a later time like today here in court for this jury, you could have tape recorded her, couldn't you?
Yes, I could have.
And we would have had a transcript just like we did for Miss Jennings and for Miss Holkeen, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't tape record her, did you?
No, I did not.
So we don't have the tape and we don't have the transcript, correct?
Oh, my God.
Correct.
I think you did.
And the same for Miss Melvin, correct?
Correct.
And if we had had the tape recording, we would have had exactitude and certainty, wouldn't we?
That's from 2019.
Assumes. Sustain.
Well, let me ask it a different way. If we had had a tape recording of those two witnesses, we would have been able...
It's going to be hilarious. It's old. Here is Chris Dewitt answering the door for some Bible thumpers.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm sharing a thought from the Bible.
Oh, no, thank you.
No?
No, I worship Satan.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
Take care.
Have a good day.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm sharing a thought from the Bible.
Oh, no, thank you.
No?
No, I worship Satan.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Take care.
Have a good day.
Oh! Oh my God! All right, that was amazing. Holy shit!
able to turn to the pages of the transcript and see exactly what was said.
Oh, what is happening?
It is, that's argument. It's appropriate for argument.
Tape recording potential witnesses in any case, let alone a murder case, is an excellent law enforcement technique, isn't it?
It's a tool.
It's an excellent tool, isn't it?
His face.
In certain circumstances, yes.
You must have felt that way when you interviewed Ms. Jennings and Mr. Holkeen, correct? Ms. Holkeen, correct? Because you tape recorded them.
No.
It's irrelevant what this witness thought about the idea of tape recording or not. It is what it is.
The objection's overruled.
No, because there are various reasons why you do tape record and don't tape record individuals.
Let me ask you something.
Someone's going to come in and just see that and they'll be like, whoa, I'm in the wrong murder church. I mean, I thought it was a gimmick.
Certainty,
I thought it was a gimmick.
truthfulness, and exactitude is a linchpin of any good criminal investigation. You would agree with that, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Okay. We don't have the exact words of Dorothy Melvin when you interviewed her. All we have is your summarization in the report, correct?
Correct.
We don't have the exact certain words of Ms. Davis when you interviewed her, correct?
Not the entire part. When preparing my reports, I will occasionally put the exact quote of the person in the report.
But we don't have each and every word, do we?
No, we don't.
Okay. For example, if a witness told you that someone had pointed a gun at them, that would be an important point, wouldn't it? In a homicide investigation, correct?
If you're asking that specific question, yes.
Okay. That's the specific question I'm asking. If someone were drunk and that was an issue in the case, that would be an important point, wouldn't it?
Good morning. Welcome to
Their
me
observations,
slowly losing
yes.
my mind
And if
live
someone
on the
told
internet.
you that they had a vivid memory of being with an individual hours before a homicide occurred in your
This son
mind,
of a bitch. You know, I'd like
and
a
they
little
told
purple
you
on
that
orange.
they had in fact received a tip
Outside
of
of a- inside of a gray, baby.
$100 for a couple minutes of service of a drink, that would be an important point that you would want to know about, correct?
Scared them too much with the pinstripes.
The tip for $100 has very little relevance to me, so no, not necessarily that would be important enough to put in a report.
But it would be important to you if the person told you along with the tip that she had a vivid memory of that, correct? That would be important, right? What her memory was like that evening.
Whoa.
Yes.
Let's turn to another subject. Mr. Jackson asked you about the technique of interviewing witnesses together.
Pastel.
Correct?
Bill.
Yes.
And you said that this is a bad technique. It's a bad technique because one witness can interfere with or influence another witness, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You've been an investigator with LASO for 20 some odd years, correct?
I've been on the department 21 years.
20 years. Okay, 2 decades. That's a long time, right?
Yes.
Is it your testimony before this jury that never in 20 years, during any of your investigations, when you interviewed witnesses, that you have never interviewed 2 witnesses at the same time?
No.
Okay. Is it your testimony that if 2 witnesses are interviewed at the same time, that automatically means that they're both going to lie? That's not your testimony, is it?
No.
In fact, would you not agree that sometimes it can be actually very helpful and productive because one can jog another's memory and lead to additional information that might turn out to be important in the course of your investigation, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is leading, he's testifying at this point.
It's a leading, you can ask, go into the subject area, rephrase the question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you agree that it could be helpful and productive sometimes for people to be interviewed together?
No. I don't agree with that.
Okay. It's important to interview all relevant witnesses in an investigation, isn't it?
It's important to try to, yes.
Well, I understand. Sometimes you can't. I'm not saying in those situations where you can't because, for example, if somebody doesn't want to meet with you or if somebody's unavailable or out of the country. I'm saying given it as a given that the person is available, if that person is a relevant witness, it's important to interview them in the course of the investigation. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Jackson also asked you about whether or not it is improper to have drinks with someone when you're interviewing. You shouldn't be drinking alcohol. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there some rule for investigators that that's not allowed? There isn't, is there?
Well, I believe in the Sheriff's Department there is.
Okay, exactly. For the Sheriff's Department, there is. You were working for the Sheriff's Department in this investigation, weren't you?
Yes.
You know who Tawny Tyndall is, correct? Our
Yes, I do.
defense investigator. And
What the fuck is going on with airplanes right now, dude? Look at this. There's another crazy shit going on. What in the fucking world, dude? New Air Canada plane executes an emergency landing and skids off the runway in Halifax during a suspected landing gear issue. The issue came within hours of as 179 people were killed when a Boeing 737-800 crashed in South Korea. The plane started to sit at about a 20-degree angle to the left, and as that happened, we heard a pretty loud, what almost sounded like a crash sound as the wing of the plane started to skid along the pavement. Along with that, I presume was the engine, a passenger told CBS News. The Air Canada flight landed with 0 fatalities, thank God. Only minor injuries. This is like the third one in like days. Oh God, that'd be a fucking... Dude, the video that I posted on YouTube as a short that shows the flight that Russia shot down, holy fuck. That dude lived. Like, not everyone died on that one, but a lot still died. But holy fuck. The dude that was filming in the air and then on the ground ended up living, but... I mean, I would just be shitting my fucking pants. I mean, I don't even know what I'd be doing. I'd be finding all sorts of new gods, I guarantee. I'd be like, you know what? Fuck, just in case, pal. Just in case. Let's try a few of them out here.
not with us today. She didn't work for the Sheriff's Department during the course of this investigation, did she?
No.
So she's not bound by any restrictions that may have been written by people in the Sheriff's Department as to how to conduct interviews, correct?
Correct.
And you would agree with the statement that there's more than one way, to borrow, I think, Mr. Jackson's phrase, to skin a cat, correct?
Yes.
There's different ways to interview people, correct?
Yes.
And you have to use different techniques when you meet people for the first time and want information from them, correct?
Yes.
Sometimes you have to be very forceful and strong, correct?
Yes.
And sometimes you have to be very soft and kind, correct?
Yes.
And you run the gamut between those two extremes when you interview individuals, and a lot of it is based on a gut feeling, isn't it?
Yes.
And oftentimes interviews are conducted in settings other than in...
Hey, the one that got shut down in Russia, man, it was definitely going down. And when that dude's filming, everyone's pretty calm on there, too. They're just sort of...
Rooms in law enforcement buildings,
happening.
correct?
Correct.
You've conducted interviews in all kinds of places, haven't you?
Yes.
Including restaurants, right?
Yes.
Including bars, right?
Yes.
And you've been around situations where others may be drinking in the course of an interview, correct?
Not the person that I'm interviewing.
So let me ask you this. If you go out to meet with somebody in an interview, and let's just say it's at a restaurant or a bar where they sell alcoholic beverages, and the person is already there, and that individual, this potential witness, is seated at a table and has a drink, and you come up and sit down and say you want to talk to them. Do I understand your testimony that you instruct them stop?
I gotta stop looking at X right now. Holy fucking shit. We got an actual moron on our hands here. Colorado suspect wanted an alleged failed bank robbery after handing teller note that was illegible. He's like, I don't know what you're saying, sir. I'm sorry. What is it? Can I get some help over here? I can't read what this said. I don't want to embarrass him. I don't want to embarrass this man. I'm sorry, sir. He's just standing there like, maybe I should have brought a gun. Maybe I should have brought a gun. Something. Like, what the hell are you doing, pal?
Drinking, I can't talk to you?
I've never had that.
You didn't have a weapon?
Go ahead.
I've never had that
brandish
situation.
a weapon?
But if that situation did occur, I would try to reschedule the interview.
Okay.
You didn't learn to write?
And of course, you
didn't
can't
go to
you've
school?
interviewed tens of thousands of witnesses, correct, in your career?
His face, he's just,
Yes.
he's
a
so
lot of people,
defeated.
yes.
Can you sit
And
there
he's still
tell
going to
us that
prison.
in each and every
And
one
he's
of those
still going to
instances,
jail.
you know for sure that when you
being a
interviewed
fucking moron.
any of those witnesses, some of them had not consumed
Oh, my
alcohol,
God.
or they had consumed
Okay.
controlled substances before they met with you, and you
I'm
just
watching
didn't know.
Madonna
That's correct.
do something on stage that looks like she's in pain. Oh my God. What is
Wouldn't it
happening?
be safe to say also that sometimes, when you can,
Bring this over here.
it's
Y'all can
very
sit, too.
important to establish a rapport with the witness so they trust you, correct?
It's probably the most important thing,
Why is it the most important thing?
because you want a person
is
to
happening?
relax and to be able to
What is going on?
feel free and comfortable
Everything's
enough to
insane.
tell you what you're seeking, your answers.
To open up to you.
Absolutely.
The more the potential witness opens up, the more information you glean from the conversation, correct?
Correct.
The more information you get from the conversation, the better your investigation can be and the more complete it can be, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So sometimes when you start an interview with somebody who you've never met before in your entire life, and you know that there is a body of information that you want to attempt to extract from that individual, you may say and do things to get that information out, correct?
Yes.
In fact, isn't it true, Detective Tomlin, that you have even sat across from a potential witness in the course of your career, about to start an interview, and you've been
Sammy, I just saw
untruthful
that
to him?
comment.
You
Oh,
have
God.
been
Oh, Pammy, what the hell?
disingenuous.
Oh, we're
to
gonna
him
fight.
because you believe that it may.
If I wrote the note,
get
it would have been
information that will
it would have been
help, correct?
legible. People could have read my note.
You've even
Oh, Lord.
tape recorded
Coming at
people
me.
surreptitiously
Coming at me from all
without them
sides.
even knowing it, correct?
Yes.
Those are all
Boom,
techniques, some techniques, that you as an investigator need to use to extract information from people, correct?
Correct.
And whether you feel good about it personally or not, sometimes you've even had to lie to potential witnesses to get them to open up, correct?
I just don't
Yes.
know what he's saying. I feel so sorry for the man. He just looks so pitiful.
But you feel that
He's just
if
a
Ms.
little
Tyndall
guy.
were to sit down and have a soft drink or an alcoholic beverage with the witness, that this would be improper for her, not a member of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, in conducting her investigations. Is that correct?
Well, a soft drink, there's no problem. Alcohol,
I paid
yes,
no
I believe
attention
that
to
is
this.
improper.
Okay.
This morning's been insane.
And that's worse than lying to somebody or tape recording them and not telling them, correct?
Yes, because you do not know if the person is consuming alcohol, you don't know if they're in the right state of mind, if they will remember facts clearly. Maybe they won't be completely forthcoming.
And in the course of, oh, I'm sorry.
So, yes, I believe lying to a person to elicit some information when they are in a sound state of mind is different from a person consuming alcohol.
Okay. You would agree, wouldn't you, that there are some people who can consume alcohol and it has no effect on them whatsoever, correct?
Objection. This calls for speculation.
Sustained.
May I have the court's indulgence?
Certainly. Thank you. Recross.
You said there's a lot of techniques that folks use during the course of interviews, and Mr. Rosen asked you about lying to a witness. Every agency in the country uses a ruse to interview suspects, correct?
Objection, it calls for speculation.
Yes, he wouldn't know about every agency.
Are you aware of other agencies, including the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, that utilize, as an agency policy, the use of something called a ruse when you're interviewing suspects?
Yes.
Now, normally when you go out and interview a witness, just a witness trying to glean information from the witness, do you employ a ruse?
Usually no.
Did you employ any ruses for witnesses in this case?
Absolutely none.
And a ruse might be when you're interviewing a suspect and you've got a certain amount of information that the suspect's good for the crime. Let's say it's a burglary and knocked over a 7-Eleven or something, and there's a getaway car. You might interview the suspect and you've got technicians out there that are lifting prints off the steering wheel of the car, and you might tell the suspect, hey buddy, we got your prints. We got your prints. What do you got to say about that? To see what their reaction is, even though you have yet to run the prints, correct?
Correct.
All right, that would be an example of the ruse, right?
Yes.
I mean, you're not, when you're talking about when Mr. Rosen asks you about lying to a witness, you're not talking about walking up and saying, hey, my name's Alan Jackson, I'm a deputy district attorney, or I'm Judge Fiddler sitting on the Superior Court, and I'd like to ask you a few questions. We're not talking about that, are we?
No.
You just don't wholesale lie to witnesses, do you?
Yes.
I interpose an objection.
Yes.
Slow down a little bit. Objection.
Objection too fast. All right.
The objection he's too fast is sustained. There you go. Is there more?
Fair enough, fair enough.
All right.
Is it true that... I couldn't let that go. I don't even know where I was. All right, so in other words, when Mr. Rosen asked you about lying to witnesses, you're not talking about literally going out and just wholesale lying to folks just to get your jollies, correct?
Correct.
That is an investigative technique that's actually taught at the academy, a ruse for suspects, correct?
Correct.
All right, and you might also tape record individuals surreptitiously, correct?
Yes.
And you know that that's a law enforcement technique that's sanctioned not only by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, but by the Superior Court bench and by the California legislature, which makes it legal for you to surreptitiously tape, correct?
Correct.
For any of the other of us who are not in law enforcement, it's actually illegal to surreptitiously tape.
Yes.
Isn't that right? But you utilize that tool as well.
Yes.
And Mr. Rosen asked you if it was proper to sometimes employ separate techniques or different techniques when interviewing a witness. He said sometimes you have to be forceful and strong, and sometimes you have to be soft and kind, correct?
Yes.
Is it ever a proper technique to maybe, I don't know, go out and find a witness and do a line of coke with the witness to get him to open up a little bit?
Do a little coke.
Absolutely not.
Never done that? Get a bong out, smoke a little weed to get him to open up a little bit?
Look at this little guy running. He's like, wait for me.
No.
And how about taking a drink? Going out to a bar, what the heck? We're going to hang out for a little while. You order a rum and coke, and I'll order a whatever it is that I'm going to order.
You order rum and coke, and I'll just order some coke.
Is that a proper technique?
Absolutely not.
All right. And the reason that the Sheriff's Department has a policy in place that you don't drink and you don't interview people while they're drinking is because that would affect the integrity of the investigation, correct?
Correct.
It doesn't matter if you wear a sheriff's badge or if you're a defense investigator, if you're male or female. Ultimately, if you're investigating the circumstances of a case, and you're trying to get to the truth of the matter, the last thing you want to do is interview a witness with whom you are imbibing alcoholic beverages, correct?
Correct.
Because that can affect memories, it can affect truthfulness, it can affect veracity, and ultimately the integrity of the entire investigation. Can it not?
Absolutely.
And you don't do that, and you indicated to Mr. Rosen that you've never done that, correct?
Correct.
And you will never do that, I'm assuming from your answers during the rest of your career, correct?
Correct.
Thanks, that's all I have.
Thank you. Redirect.
Mr. Jackson just asked you about whether or not you usually employ a ruse, and I think your answer was that you usually don't employ a ruse when you're interviewing suspects, and he gave you an example of like a burglary case, correct?
No. I believe he stated, usually do not conduct a ruse when I'm interviewing a witness.
Okay, that's exactly right, and that's the point I want to get to. When you interview a suspect, it's very different than when you're interviewing a witness, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you have a suspect, you're going to use different techniques, and you're going to interview that individual, male or female, in a different way than you interview a witness, or at that point, a potential witness, because you don't even know, right?
Not necessarily.
All right. So you're saying that you may employ some techniques that are similar, but you would agree that you employ some that are different, right?
To a suspect, yes.
Okay. Let me ask you something. Do you know Miss Tyndall? You don't, do you?
No.
Never met her, have you?
Never met her.
You ever sat down and talked with her about your investigative techniques and hers, like two colleagues in the same business? You haven't, have you?
No.
Do you have any information whatsoever that from the time that Miss Tyndall came on board and started working for Mr. Spector and the defense team as our investigator, that she smoked dope with anybody? You don't, do you?
No.
And you don't have any information that she smoked dope with any witness in this case, do you?
No.
And do you have any information, since Ms. Tyndall started working for the defense team in this case, that she sat down and did a line of cocaine with anybody? You don't, do you?
No.
And do you have any information that Ms. Tyndall, in the course of interviewing potential witnesses in this case, drank so much alcohol that she became tipsy during the course of her interviews?
No.
In fact, you've seen her reports, haven't you?
Yes.
You've read her reports, haven't you?
Yes.
Do you see anything in any of the reports authored by Ms. Tyndall that suggests that she had either smoked dope, done a line of cocaine, or was drunk when they were written, or the interviews took place?
No.
It's been a bunch going on, James. Smoking dope.
In this
Who's
state,
out
it's
here
legal to drink
smoking
if you're
that
over
dope?
21, correct?
Yes.
You ever
There's nothing
smoked dope,
illegal about
boy?
having discussions with individuals after
Where's
you've had
the
a drink,
dope at?
even if it's an interview of a potential witness, correct?
Correct.
Thank you, nothing further.
Thank you.
Oh, excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes. All right.
Rosin smoking dope. Picture that. Big old dupster
My
right out
colleagues
of
have asked me to inquire in one little quick area. Hopefully it'll be one question. Mr. Tomlin, did you ever interview Jennifer Hayes?
No, I did not.
Damned old dirty
You saw her here
dope.
yesterday, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So prior to yesterday,
Dope ruined my
you'd
life.
never spoken to her about this case, is that right?
Correct.
How about your partner, Detective Fournier? Did Paul Fournier ever speak to her
Don't be a
before
dope.
she came
Don't
in and
smoke
testified
dope.
yesterday?
No.
Thank you, nothing further.
Thank you. Recross.
You did review a report by Ms. Tyndall, authored by Ms. Tyndall, where she indicated that she interviewed Pumpkin Pie at a bar and that they ordered drinks and Pumpkin Pie was tipsy. Remember
Yes.
that? Thanks.
Redirect.
Nothing.
All right, subject to recall. Thank you for being here. You may step down.
Thank you.
See what we got next.
I do, but
Where we going next?
going to need a couple of minutes with her, just so I...
Okay, fine. All right, let's let, just a real short recess, ladies and gentlemen. Rather than make you wait in the jury box, just step into the jury room. Mind the admonition. We'll just be a few minutes. Thank you.
All right, where we going next, friends? Where we going next, then? Next, we've got Angela Pellegrini Silverstein, the estranged sister of witness Melissa Grosvenor, who claims Spector threatened her with a gun. Takes the stand. Let's get her name up here so we can fix the screen. And we're going to go in. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I really appreciate it. It's been a glorious morning right here.
Hold up!
In the Hold up!
Hold up! I'm telling you like it is, baby.
Maybe we'll get a little extra belly, John. We'll just pop some bells in here. Wake up, everybody. Wake up. Brooklyn! All right, everyone, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it. Let's keep rocking.
Silverstein.
Can you spell that for us, please?
P-I-L-E.
The whole name.
The whole thing?
The whole name.
A-N-G-E-L-A. P-I-L-E-G-G-I.
Right now, I'm fixing the name.
S-I-L-V-E-R-S-T-E-I-N.
Thank you. You may proceed.
May I just call you Ms. Pelleggi, because that's how I
Yes.
know you?
Yes.
I can't remember the other name. Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Pelleggi, and thank you so
Pelleggi.
much for
Ms.
being with us
Pelleggi.
today and joining us. You've come a long
Awesome
way,
name.
haven't you?
Yes, I have.
And where have you come from?
From Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, thank you. I want to ask you a question. Do you know and have a relationship with a lady named Melissa Grosvenor?
Yes, I do.
And what is your relationship with Melissa Grosvenor?
She's my sister.
Okay. Was she a Pelleggi at one time and now
Yes.
Grosvenor?
Pardon, yes.
Okay. Let me just kind of instruct you on something, if I may. It's okay. You haven't done anything wrong.
Okay.
It's a little different here in the courtroom.
God, every time he starts out with
Rules
someone,
we
it makes me
follow.
want to
It's very
die.
important, and I'm going to steal from Mr. Jackson his words, that I not step on your words and you not step on my words. In other words, when I'm talking, let me completely finish my question.
Jesus, he loves
and
doing
when you're
this, dude.
answering, I will let you completely finish your answer.
Do this.
Because
You know what?
otherwise
When
it becomes-
Jackson does it, he does it. He just says what you said and he's done. He's polite. He's like, you know, I just don't want to step on each other's words. You know, we're going to keep going. Here's my next question. Rosin's like, let me just be frank with you. What you have to do is listen to me completely. And if you're not listening to me, then you're fucking up. I have not finished my original question. So please just zip your lips. Please. Please just zip them up. Keep them zipped. I'm still up. I'm still not up. No. Stop. Say. Rising.
It was very, very difficult for Cindy to get that down. We call it a reporter's nightmare. Okay?
Okay.
Now, okay.
We
Melissa's
get
your
it.
sister, is that correct?
We got it after you said
Okay,
it like
and Grosvenor is her
the
married
first
name?
time.
Yes.
So she is your full sister.
Yes.
Could you pull the microphone up close to you? Just use it like a telephone. Bring it closer up.
Closer?
Yeah, don't be afraid of it.
Don't be afraid?
No.
Okay.
Do not be afraid, as they would say. Okay. I want to turn your attention, if I may, to the year of 2005. At that time, did you find yourself in the state of Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have ties to Georgia?
Yes.
What are those?
I was born and raised in Georgia.
Okay. And was Melissa also born and raised in Georgia?
Yes.
Do you have another sister named Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, and her name is spelled C-A-T-H-I, is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And was Kathy also raised in the Georgia area?
Yes.
Okay, and where were you raised? In what part of Georgia?
Augusta, Georgia.
Okay. Augusta, Georgia is a pretty famous place during 1 week of every year, isn't that true?
Yes, it is.
And why don't you turn to the jury and explain to them why it becomes famous 1 week out of the year for those of us that don't chase little white balls around golf courses?
Augusta is the home of the Masters Golf Tournament, and they play it in April every year. So.
And is that kind of a big to-do, a big deal down there?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Why don't you tell us what goes on in Augusta during that week when they have that tournament?
Everyone that is in golf comes, and I mean, lots of people that love golf. I mean, it's the place to be. It's the golf tournament of the year. It's Masters in Augusta, Georgia. So,
and
parties and everything.
Parties and everything?
Parties and, everyone having a great time, going out to eat, everything, yeah.
And do a lot of people come from not only the United States, but all over the world who are interested in golf to this tournament?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay. I want to turn your attention to approximately 2005, okay? And I think you said this occurs usually in the month of April?
Yes.
Okay. Were you in Augusta at that time?
Oh, yes.
Were you there during the festivities for the Masters Golf Tournament?
Oh, yes, I was.
Okay. Were any of your sisters there with you also?
Yes.
In particular, was Melissa there with you?
Yes, she was.
Okay. Did Melissa and you attend several parties?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Did you attend a particular party at a judge's house?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us, if you would, for a moment, how you and Melissa got to that party.
Friends of Melissa's had come into town, and they had invited us to several parties. And one night and the following night, and both were at two different judges' homes.
Okay. Do people rent out their homes during the golf tournament? Is that a common thing that happens?
Oh, yes. Lots of people do.
Okay. Was that the situation here as far as you knew?
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about this, just the second party that you went to at the judge's home. Did you, Melissa, attend that party?
Yes, we did.
And were you all dressed up?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Were there other people there?
Oh, lots of people. Mm-hmm.
Did there come a time after you and Melissa arrived at the judge's home for this party where you and she did something?
We walked around the home.
Okay. Well, why'd you walk around the home?
It was a beautiful home.
And you wanted to see it?
Yes, wanted to see it. Mm-hmm.
Was it I'll use the term, was it a palatial home?
Yes. It's
Big?
big, yes.
And was it decorated nicely?
Oh, it was beautifully decorated.
Okay.
Definitely.
And in terms of walking around, was it for the purpose of just seeing the decorations in the home itself?
Yes.
Did something happen when you, let me finish, did something happen when you and Melissa took this walk around the house to see how it was decorated?
Yes.
I want you to tell the jury what happened.
My sister picked up a plaque that was sitting on a desk, and she put it in her purse.
And where was this desk and this plaque?
It was in what appeared to be an office.
And do you remember what that office looked like generally?
It was beautiful. It had one chair that had antlers that actually made up what the cushion of the chair was sitting on. It was beautiful.
You say she picked up a plaque and put it in her purse. Where was the plaque when she picked it up?
It was sitting on the desk.
Can you describe the plaque?
Yes, it was about this big, and it said,
Wait, I have to describe it. Indicating around about 5, 6 inches high, maybe 7, 8, 9 inches wide.
Okay.
I mean,
That's
close
approximate,
enough?
sure.
Okay. All right, slow down. It was,
Okay.
so that was the size of it, correct?
correct.
All right. And tell us what it looked like, please.
It was white with black lettering.
Did you see the black lettering?
Yes.
And what did the black lettering say?
Attitude is everything.
And what did you see Melissa do with that plaque?
She put it in her purse.
Did it belong to her?
No.
Whom did it belong to, if you know?
I'm assuming the people that live there.
Did you and she then leave the office?
Yes.
Did she have the plaque in her purse?
Yes.
Did eventually the two of you leave the park?
After a couple of hours, we did.
Okay. Did you know her to return the plaque?
No.
After you left the party, where'd you go?
Our sister Becky's home.
Okay. That's another sister?
Yes.
Okay. And did she live in the Augusta area?
Yes, she does.
Okay. And when you got to Becky's home after the party, did you see the plaque again?
Yes.
Would you tell the jury what happened and what you saw?
When we got back to my sister Becky's home, and of course, Melissa said where we had gone to, what home we had been. And Becky, my sister, looks at Melissa and said, "So what did you steal?" And Melissa pulls the plaque out of her purse and proudly displays it to my sister Becky, our sister Becky.
Okay. I want to turn your attention to another time. Do you recall being here in Los Angeles around May 1st of this year?
Yes.
Okay. And you came out here to be interviewed by Ms. Tyndall, and I actually met you that time, is that right?
Yes, you did.
We met for the very first time, right?
Yes.
And I spent a little time chatting with you, is that right?
Yes, it is.
During the time that you were here, oh, and by the way, in May of this year, were you here by yourself, or was there some other family member that was here also with you?
My sister Kathy also came.
Okay. And were you and Kathy staying at the same hotel?
Yes.
And was that a hotel that in downtown here in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Tyndall, did you get an opportunity to meet her face to face?
Yes.
You had spoken to her on the phone previously, but had not met her, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you knew that Ms. Tyndall was the lead defense investigator for the defense team in this case, is that right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did something happen in the presence of Ms. Tyndall, your sister Kathy, and yourself while at the room at the hotel?
Yes.
Okay. And did it involve your sister Melissa?
Yes, it did.
Did it involve a phone call?
Yes, it did.
Would you share with us, please, what happened?
A phone call to my sister Melissa, and it's... Well, I had called her, and beginning of the conversation, she said, "Why did I tell them about the embezzlement, and why did I tell that she had stolen the plaque from the judge's home? They never would have known," is what she said. She was scolding me.
Okay. And how were you able to hear that?
It was on speakerphone on Tawny's phone. Tawny was present, so was my sister Kathy.
When those words were spoken?
When those words were spoken.
Okay.
Yes.
Directing your attention again to approximately sometime in the beginning to the middle of '05, okay? So I can't do any better than that, but somewhere in the beginning to the middle of the year 2005. Do you recall having a conversation with Melissa about this case?
Yes.
And did Melissa say something to you about she possibly being a witness in this case?
Oh, yes.
And just tell the jury what she said.
She was bragging about going to be on court TV and being on the Phil Spector trial.
Okay. And was that a conversation, Ms. Pileggi, face-to-face, or was that a conversation that took place over the telephone?
Over the telephone.
Okay. And you remember that?
Oh, yes, I remember.
Okay. I just have one last question that I want to ask you, a couple last questions I want to ask you. Today, you and your sister are not friendly, is that correct?
Sister
Melissa.
Melissa, right.
Okay, there's been a split in your relationship, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just one last question. I want you to turn your attention to Mr. Spector, who's seated at a council table. Have you ever met this man?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Has he ever given you so much as a nickel for coming here to testify?
No.
And do you expect or anticipate that Mr. Spector is going to give you anything of any kind of remuneration for you coming here to testify today?
No.
You've been subpoenaed to be here, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr.
Jacksonville,
Levy,
How much are you getting? How much are you getting from this monster?
you don't like your sister very much, do you?
Which sister would that be?
That would be Melissa.
Okay. We don't get along.
Yeah. You don't like her very much. That's kind of part and parcel of not getting along, correct?
Not really. I love her. But
I didn't
we
ask
don't
if you
get
love her.
along.
Right.
Well, you said I don't like her,
Well-
but that's not true. I love her. We don't get along.
Okay. You can love someone and not necessarily like them and want to spend time with them.
This is
correct?
going to get spicy.
I suppose.
Okay, and beyond just supposing, I'm asking you straight out, you don't like her as a person very much. I mean, y'all don't get along, do you?
We don't get along.
Good answer.
We don't get along.
Hey, Rosin, it's not up to you to say good answer, pal.
Okay. Now, you were aware of Melissa being interviewed by the authorities in this case all the way back in 2004.
Yes.
Okay. And you were aware, according to you, that Melissa was probably going to be involved in the Spector case somehow or another all the way back to October of 2004 when she was interviewed by the authorities, correct?
Right.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you were interviewed by, I think, Ms. Tyndall, and you indicated in 2006 during that interview that it was about a year and a half ago that you became aware of Melissa's involvement in this case, correct?
I was not interviewed by Mrs. Tyndall in 2006.
You're right. It was a guy named Gailey.
Gailey.
Is that correct? An investigator named Gailey?
Dale Kelly.
There you go, Dale Kelly. There's several
Yes.
investigators in this case. Thanks for helping me out with that.
Oh, you're welcome.
It was Mr. Dale Kelly and another investigator that was actually from Georgia, correct?
Who was from Georgia?
The second investigator that was there with Mr. Kelly.
I don't know where he came from. I know where he was when he interviewed me.
Well,
It
did
was
he have
in
an
South
accent?
Carolina.
Did he have an accent?
Did he have an
Did he
accent?
sound like he's from the South?
Not to me, but I'm from the South, so everyone sounds
They're
the same.
fighting. They're being as polite as they can.
All right, so his accent
They're,
didn't stick out in your
they're
mind.
throwing
Not in my
barbs.
mind.
There were two people that came and interviewed you, correct?
Correct.
And during the course of that interview with Mr. Kelly, you indicated that you had been aware for about, at that time, a year and a half about Melissa's involvement, correct?
Right.
All right. And it was your impression, as a matter of fact, that Melissa was not being honest.
I knew for a fact she was not being honest.
Okay, you thought she was a liar.
I knew she was lying.
All right. And based on the fact that you knew she was lying, you obviously told the defense investigator when you were finally interviewed by the defense, correct?
I answered the questions that they asked me.
Right. And
Right, correctly.
And
Honestly.
And you indicated that you believed that, in fact, Melissa was not telling the truth, that she was making it up, that she was just a liar, correct?
Yes.
All right. Between October of 2004, and by
Jackson's
the way,
trying to
you
get it out of
knew
her, Dixie.
Mr. Spector, you just smiled very broadly at him when you saw him, correct?
Absolutely.
You
He's
have
a wonderful man. I
You have some
adore
affection.
him.
You have some affection for him, correct?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, to use your words, you adore him.
I do.
Absolutely.
I do.
You did then, and you still do.
Yes, I do.
Okay. You knew that he was facing murder charges back in October of
Adore.
2004, did you not?
Yes.
Okay. As a matter of fact, you knew
Adore.
that somebody had been killed in his house, and that he had been arrested, and that he had been indicted, and he was facing the charge of murder here in California. You knew all that back in October 2004.
Right.
And you also knew that your sister, at that time, in October 2004, was involved in the case and might potentially be a witness in the case, talking about a prior incident, correct?
Right.
You knew all that. Let me ask you this, Ms. Pileggi. It's Pileggi with a hard G. Yes?
Yes.
I need
yes.
an answer.
I said yes.
Okay. At what point did you call the DA's office to let them know that your sister was lying?
Objection, argument
Overruled.
I never called the DA's office.
At what point did you call the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to let them know that during the course of this murder that they had a liar on their hands, Miss Melissa Grosvenor? When did you call the Sheriff's Department and let them know that?
I never called the sheriff's office.
Well, maybe you didn't realize that it was a sheriff's case. Maybe you called the LAPD. When did you call them?
I'm an objection. Overruled.
I never called them. I never called
You never called who?
anyone that you're asking me.
You never called
the LA.
anyone in a position of
You're
authority.
talking over each other, folks.
I apologize.
All right, ask your question.
You never called anyone in a position of authority, the DA's office, the Sheriff's Department, a police agency, to let them know my sister's lying, did you?
No.
Yeah. You didn't call in October of 2004, I'm assuming?
No, I didn't call.
That was the month I was asking you about. You didn't call in November of 2004?
No.
December?
No.
All the way through the end of 2004, you never called?
No.
How about 2005? Did you call anybody in any month during the 12 months of 2005 to let the authorities know my sister is lying, she's a liar?
No, I didn't.
Going into 2006, January of 2006, you didn't make any phone calls, did you?
No.
February of 2006, you didn't make any phone calls to anybody in a position of authority, correct?
Right.
But you knew Mr. Spector this whole time, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and you adored him back then.
Right.
You felt like he may be being wrongly accused, correct? And your sister may be part of it. Is that right?
Right.
Excuse me, I'm going to object. That's a compound question the way it's phrased.
Break it down into two parts this
I
time.
apologize. You felt like you knew at that point, as a matter of fact, dating all the way back to October of 2004, that your sister was involved in a case in which Mr. Spector was being charged with murder, and you know him and you adore him, correct?
Right.
All right. In February of 2006, you actually did reach out and try to contact Mr. Spector, didn't you?
Yes.
All right. And in February of 2006, you didn't call him, Ms. Pileggi, to tell him, hey, look, my sister's involved in this case and she's not being honest. You called Mr. Spector to ask for concert tickets and a backstage pass for you and your boyfriend, Butch Jones, to a Rolling Stones concert. Isn't that correct?
No, but you're close. That's not correct.
You reached out and asked him for concert tickets, did you not?
No, I did not.
What did you call him for?
For backstage passes. The concert tickets I had already had.
I see. So you asked him for backstage passes. Did I get the concert right, Miss Pileggi? Was it the Stones?
You had the concert right.
Did I get the boyfriend right? Was it Butch Jones?
Yes.
All right.
You're good.
Well, I'm trying. All right.
It's an insult to him.
You actually, Ms. Pileggi, you actually called Mr. Spector, knowing that he was charged with murder, knowing at that time that your sister was involved in the case, and you called him not to tell him that your sister was a liar. You called to ask him for a favor, correct?
Well, first of all,
That's a yes or no question.
Excuse me, Your Honor, he's cutting off the witness. She's beginning your answer.
Well, it may or may not be a yes or no question, so you can go ahead and answer.
Mr. Spector knows that she's lying, that it never happened, so I don't think I had to tell him that.
Actually, Ms. Pileggi, you don't know what Mr. Spector knows.
Oh, shit! He keeps over talking.
Just wait 1 minute.
Rosa getting up.
Mr. Rosen, watch your tone of
Rosa,
voice.
shut the fuck
Mr.
up,
Jackson,
seriously.
You are over talking.
You
We need to
cocksucker.
let everybody
You have
get
nothing
their
to
answer
do
in.
with
If
this
there's an
scenario
objection,
right now at all.
But
The judge
we're
is
not
going to
have
preside
this
over it.
cacophony of sound, and we're
The
not gonna make it
questioning with
impossible for the
Jackson and this
reporter and the
witness.
jury.
Shut the
Very
fuck
well.
up. You rule nothing.
Thank you.
You knew that
Jesus,
Mr. Spector was being charged with crime.
Right.
You knew that your sister was involved, correct?
Right.
Yet when you called him for backstage passes. You didn't call him to let him know that anything was amiss in his trial, correct?
First of all, I did not know Melissa was definitely going to be up on the witness stand.
I see.
And Mr. Spector, since he and Melissa were friends also, he knew that what she was saying was not true. So I did not have
Objection,
to
that calls for
tell.
speculation.
Well,
The
this is-
witness doesn't know what Mr. Spector knows.
Excuse me, this is her state of mind as to why she didn't ask certain questions or say certain things. So
Very well.
you may answer.
So why would I have
Did you
to
see
tell
that
him
eyebrow
something?
raise? Oh my God. Dude, the cattiness in here, but who at the end of the day has the final say?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Judge
That he
Dow.
already knew was not true.
Gotta be a rep in this
Since
one
you assumed
sometimes.
that they were
This is a
friends,
wild
you
trial
assumed
from
that
those
he
who
knew
watch it.
everything that was going on in
It's
Melissa's
absolutely
life and
crazy.
what her potential testimony
I've never
was gonna
seen stuff
be.
happen like
Why
this in any
tell
trial
him that my
before.
sister's lying about her testimony or potential testimony, correct? That's your testimony.
Best judge to handle this type of
It
stuff.
was not true, so why would I have to tell him something that he already knew?
I see. And you had had a conversation with him about this, correct?
That is true, Brooklyn. I
No,
can't
I
pop
did
anything
not.
up right now because my
All right.
shit's fucked
And
up.
in February of 2006,
If you will. Thank you.
That's a
May I go?
pepper blowing
Yes. All right,
fire.
in February
Speaking-
of 2006,
speaking that
when
fire.
you, just to kind of bring us back to the foundation that we're talking about, when you contacted Mr. Spector, it was not to talk about the case in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It was not to talk about Melissa, correct?
Correct.
You called him for some backstage passes, correct?
Correct.
So you were asking Mr. Spector for a favor at that time.
Well, since I met Keith Richards when I was with Mr. Spector for a Hall of Fame party, I knew he knew Keith, so I was going to ask him, but I never spoke to him on the phone.
You knew that Mr. Spector was powerful in the industry.
I knew he knew Keith Richards because that's how I met Keith Richards, was with Mr. Spector.
Ms. Pileggi, you knew that Mr. Spector was powerful in the music industry, correct?
Yes, I know what, yes.
You knew that he was a wealthy man,
Yes, yes,
and you were calling to ask for a favor, correct?
from a friend.
How many other favors have you asked from Mr. Spector since then?
None.
Now, something else was happening in February of 2006 aside from the Rolling Stones concert, correct? You were actually, your ex-husband, I think Louis Silverstein, yes?
Yes.
Your ex-husband had filed a petition for contempt regarding the custody of your children, Samuel and Bernard, the twins.
Right.
That petition for contempt was basically to get full custody of the kids and to take away your visitation rights. Is that right?
I'm going to interpose an objection to this line of question.
If it's, depends, are you going to tie this into Melissa Grove?
Absolutely.
All right, the objection's overruled.
And so I don't have to interrupt you. I have a running objection to this area.
You may.
Thank you. On foundational grounds and on relevancy grounds and materiality grounds.
All right.
Thank you.
You may proceed.
Thank you. You were undergoing a very heated custody battle with Louis Silverstein concerning the custody of your children. Is that right?
Right.
You and Louis Silverstein did not see eye to eye on how to raise the kids. You two had been separated, and he was seeking full custody, and you were fighting him on that, correct?
Well, objection is a compound question.
I think I could break it down, but is that true? Or-
Yes.
All right.
And isn't it true, Ms. Pileggi, that shortly thereafter, Melissa, specifically Ms. Grosvenor, took the side of Louis Silverstein in that custody battle, did not take your side. Isn't that right?
Yes.
That angered you to no end, as it would any sister, correct?
It upset me.
You-
Absolutely.
It absolutely upset, maybe another word for anger, correct?
Did it upset me? Yes, it did.
It upset you greatly. I mean, we're talking about your twins, your boys.
Yes.
And she took his side, not your side.
Yes.
And blood is thicker than water in normal circumstances. She should have taken your side, shouldn't she?
Well, objection. That form of that question calls.
Asking her if that's what she believes.
In your mind.
Sure.
She told you, Melissa specifically told you, that she was concerned for the welfare of Samuel and Bernard, and she could not take your side because she was concerned about your prior drug use and drug habits.
Your
Is
Honor,
that correct?
I'm going to object. It's asked to come to the bench.
Come to the bench.
Oh. Bring your gloves.
This following testimony concerning possible drug usage is limited solely to the purpose of showing a basis for the rift between the sisters and how it might have affected future events or events that took place after that time, and solely for that purpose only. You may proceed.
Thank you. Did Melissa indicate to you that she was concerned for the welfare of the children, Samuel and Bernard, based on your history of drug use?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
No.
Isn't it true that within weeks of this chasm, this rift between yourself and Melissa, that's when you first went to the defense and were interviewed, as a matter of fact, in April of 2006. And that was the first time that you ever spoke to the defense investigators about this case.
First of all, I didn't go to the defense. They came to me.
And in April of 2006, That was the first time that you ever indicated that Melissa was being untruthful, the information about the plaque, things of that nature, correct?
Correct.
You indicated that you believed that, I believe this was a question by Mr. Rosen specifically, that Ms. Grosvenor's motive in this case was, one of the motives was that she was bragging about wanting to be on court TV. She just wants to be on TV, correct?
Correct.
Are you aware that Ms. Grosvenor never contacted the authorities in this case? Indeed, the authorities found her through a third person that said you might want to talk to this lady. Were you aware of that?
No.
Were you aware that Ms. Grosvenor spent money on a lawyer or a set of lawyers and filed with this court specific moving papers requesting, begging the court that she not be on TV?
Overruled.
That she not be televised on TV, and it was this court's determination that she would in fact be on TV. Were you aware of that?
No, not, especially not since the conversation I had with her.
Thank
No.
you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Redirect.
Yes, please, Your Honor.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm so sorry.
Ms. Pileggi, as I understand it, you spoke to our investigators, when was it, in 2005 about?
Yes.
Okay, well before 2006, when you
No,
called.
it was in 2000 and, was it 2006, I believe?
Okay.
No.
Was that well before you called Mr. Spector?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Well before you called him?
Oh, absolutely.
Let me ask you something. Did you speak with him?
No, I never spoke to Philip. I still have not spoken to Philip.
Okay.
You
Did
call
you
him
speak
Philip?
with Philip when you were out here in May?
No, I didn't.
Have you spoken with him today since you've been here at the courthouse?
Excuse me,
I
Mr.
smiled at
Phillip.
him, but I still haven't really said hello to him. Hello, Philip.
All right, let me ask you something. Mr. Dixon, excuse me, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Dixon was just sitting there minding his own business. Poor Mr. Dixon, he just can't win sometimes.
So stipulated.
Oh, my God.
Okay, let's start over. Mr. Jackson was asking you some question about some concert tickets. You recall that?
Yes.
Okay, let's just take it slow. Some concert tickets and some backstage passes, correct?
Correct.
And you mentioned a name, Keith Richards, correct?
Correct.
All right, I know this is probably going to be the stupidest question to ask in this entire trial, but would you tell us who Keith Richards was or is?
He's a member of the Rolling Stones.
Okay. A rock band, correct?
A rock band, right.
All right. And I think you indicated that you knew that Mr. Spector knew Keith Richards, correct?
Right.
Through Mr. Spector's musical accomplishments, correct?
Well, because I had met Keith Richards when I was a guest of Phillips at a Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction at the Waldorf.
All right.
At this point, Mr. Rosen, we're going to break. I'm going to order you back at 1:30, ma'am. There may be another witness who we will take out of order, and then you'll testify after that, but I'll order you back for 1:30. Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind the admonition, 1:30 this afternoon. Thank you. All right, all parties, the jurors, and the alternates are present as heretofore. I understand that the parties have discussed this matter, and you're going to finish with the witness that's presently on the stand, then we'll go to the next witness.
That's mine.
All right. Go ahead. All right, ma'am, if you'll take the stand again, please. Just go ahead and pull that microphone again close to you, and you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Welcome back, Ms. Pileggi, and thanks for returning. When we broke at the noon recess, as I recall, you and I were discussing the fact that you had reached out to Phil Spector in February of '06. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, I want to finish that subject, and then I want to return to something. I think I made a mistake this morning, and I want to clear it up.
Okay.
Okay? It wasn't you, it was me. And as I understand it, you made a phone call to Mr. Spector, is that correct?
Yes.
And you were asking for something, correct?
Yes.
What was it you were asking for?
Backstage passes for a Rolling Stones concert. I was on my way to it.
Okay. And did the concert occur within a day or two after you made the call?
It was in a few hours. I was on my way to Atlanta.
Okay. And let me ask you something. Did you get those passes?
No,
Did you get any tickets from Mr. Spector?
no,
No passes from Mr. Spector?
no,
As a matter of fact, you didn't even get a call back, did you?
no, I didn't.
So you never spoke to Mr. Spector about that, correct?
No.
Now, this morning, and it was my mistake, not yours, I got confused on some dates. You actually called Mr. Spector to ask for these passes, as I understand, in February of '06, is that correct?
Right.
And you didn't, and then you spoke with Mr. Kelly in April of '06, correct?
Right.
So you actually called him for the passes before you spoke with Mr. Kelly?
Right.
Okay. And you brought that to my attention after we broke here this morning before we went to lunch, correct?
Right.
Okay. And let me ask you a question. When Mr. Kelly interviewed you, where did that interview take place?
In North Augusta, South Carolina.
Okay. And Mr. Kelly, he had called you in advance, told you he was coming and set this appointment with you?
No.
Tell us what happened.
Someone had gone by my boyfriend's home, and they were looking for me. And when I got to my boyfriend's, he said he gave me the card, and so I called the name on the card, which was Dale Kelly. And he asked if he could speak with me, and I told him yes. So he came and interviewed me 5 minutes later. He was that close to the house, so.
Okay, so it was an unannounced visit, right?
Yes.
He did not call you in advance and let you know?
Oh, no.
Okay. Let's turn our
I
attention
don't
to
know.
another subject matter if we
Like, I've
may
had
for a
that.
moment.
I've seen some witnesses that make me think,
Well,
I
let's
can
finish
see
this
it
off first.
to a point,
You
but
spoke with Mr.
I
Kelly,
don't
is that
know.
correct?
Yes.
You gave him a
I wish you
statement,
could see the
correct?
second trial. Well,
Okay. And when you
It
gave
would
him
take
that
so long,
statement, you didn't
It's
tell him to
interesting.
keep it private, did you?
No.
You assumed it was going to be released to the defense team as well as the prosecution team, correct?
Right.
And did you have any reason to believe that the government would not eventually get control of that statement?
No.
And you expressed no objection to that, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay.
yeah, there's so much to.
Now, Mr. Jackson
can't.
asked you a few other questions. He asked you about what you told the defense investigator and what you didn't, and what you would have assumed in your own mind was known to the prosecution and what wasn't. When you told the defense investigator about Melissa's bank fraud, that was the truth, wasn't it?
Yes.
And when you told the defense investigator about Melissa lying on her Continental Airlines application under penalty of perjury, that was the truth, wasn't it?
Objection, Your Honor, this is beyond the scope of cross-examination.
It is.
Okay.
Sustained.
Let's just stay with the bank fraud. When you told the defense investigator,
The bank fraud is...
I think the bank fraud was raised during either direct or cross. That objection is overruled.
thank you. Okay, when you told him about that, and you said that was the truth, you loved your sister then, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, you knew about that situation. She had to go to court, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Did you support court?
Yes, I did.
How'd you do that?
I went to court. I was there in court with her
And why'd you go to court with her?
because I love her.
Okay. Did you have any reason to believe that Melissa would have withheld that information from the government?
No.
That calls for speculation. It assumes facts, not in evidence.
Asking for her state of mind, overruled. She may answer. It's her state of mind. Does she have any reason to believe that? That's all it is. It goes to her. Some of the other answers she gave this morning, I'm going to overrule the objection.
I had no reason to believe that she would not tell me that, that she did tell them.
Okay.
And I thought she did tell them.
That was a part of her life, correct?
Right.
Were you aware that Melissa asked not to be on television after it was discovered that she in fact had this bank fraud conviction?
Objection, that assumes facts, not in evidence.
Sustained.
Did you have any information from discussions with Melissa about the fact that the bank fraud in her background, in her history, had already been revealed prior to the time that she had made that request?
Objection, that calls for hearsay, and if it's not used for the truth of the matter asserted, it's irrelevant.
Overruled. She may answer.
Could you repeat that? I mean, could you mind repeating that?
Sure. What I'm asking you is this. Did you have any reason to believe that Melissa asked...
Oh, shit. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Let me fix the fajitas real quick. Boom.
Not to be on television after the fact
Fajita
of the
party.
bank fraud conviction had been revealed?
That assumes facts to be
So you're arguing, you can argue this at a later time, Mr. Rosen. Sustain.
Okay, just a couple
look at
other
it.
questions. You have another sister, Kathy, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and she's waiting on the hallway,
Madness
is
at
that
all
correct?
times.
Yes, she is.
Oh, I got
And she's
your
gonna be
message,
the next
Shelley.
witness, is that
Thanks.
right?
Yes.
Okay, and you and Kathy have discussed some of these matters together,
Objection, this is
correct?
beyond the scope.
Actually, the fact that they've discussed these matters, I think that's appropriate to ask her at this point. I'll allow it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. And just one final question. Well, no, it'll have to be broken up.
She knew where to
When you
find us.
testified here this morning that Angela stole that plaque and you witnessed it, were you telling the truth?
Objection.
Excuse me, misstated. Let me rephrase it. When you testified here this morning that Melissa stole that plaque and you witnessed it, were you telling the truth?
Objection. That's for the jury to decide. It calls for a
Well, it's asking whether she was being truthful in her testimony. She may answer that.
Yes, I was.
And when you testified here this morning that Melissa told you that she
You know,
wanted
she
to be
hates
on
her
court
sister
TV,
so much.
were you telling the truth?
Yes.
I bet she's getting paid too. I don't
And
fucking
when
say it.
you testified here this morning that Melissa on the telephone,
chime me with
on
that-
Tawny
with that
Tyndall's
Spector feller.
telephone on the speakerphone said, quote, "You told them about the bank embezzlement and the plaque I stole from the judge's home. They wouldn't have known," close quote. Were you telling the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you. Recross.
Very briefly, if you weren't telling the truth this morning when you testified, would you tell this jury that you weren't being honest?
I raised my hand and I was sworn to tell the truth.
That's not my question, Ms. Pileggi. If you weren't telling the truth, would you tell this jury?
I thought I was supposed to get up here and tell the truth, so why would I not tell the truth? I'm confused.
I'm sorry. Ultimately, your truthfulness is up for the jurors to decide, not for simply you to say, correct? You agree?
I misunderstood when that lady asked me to raise my hand. I mean, was it not to tell the truth? I thought it was.
And ultimately, that's for the jury to decide. You agree with that in the trial process, correct?
Sure.
She has to give it to him. Oh my God.
When you went to
The
support your
bickering is
sister,
weird.
as you indicated,
Even Jackson wants to get his jabs in.
her bank fraud
Good Lord.
trial or
This trial is as interesting as it is. It's also
That was back in
ridiculous.
1989.
I don't remember the exact year, but
Sound about right?
I couldn't tell you the exact year.
88 to 90?
I'm sure you have it on your paperwork somewhere, probably.
I'm sure I do.
Okay.
I'm asking you what your recollection was.
I said I don't recollect the exact year.
Can you give us an idea, Ms. Pileggi?
No.
How about this? Was it before or after you lost custody of your kids and Melissa took Lewis's side?
Well, I didn't have my sons until 94. So
That answer doesn't help us. We weren't there with you, Ms. Pileggi. I'm simply asking you a very simple question.
She had already been sentenced to the embezzlement way before I had my son, so if that helps the jury any.
Okay, so during the course and the process of you losing your kids in a custody battle, that was after you had already gone to support your sister, correct?
Oh, yes, definitely after.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you right?
Yes,
It would be hilarious. After this, you get to see her and Jackson on a date. Like they're just out at dinner after all of this, and just like the fucking tension that would build.
The fact that you had as I think Mr. Jackson termed it, a heated custody battle, a real fight, does that in any way impact on your testimony here today as to whether or not you were telling the
Forgot about
truth
the
about your
poll.
sister Melissa?
It's like people want the new logo shirt.
Thank you.
Right.
Recross.
No, you're wrong.
Hold on, I'm an idiot. The new logo shirt's already a shirt. What the fuck? All right, yeah, I've lost my mind this morning. You guys got to see that live. The new logo shirt is already the Publicly Unsolved Mysteries shirt. Okay, I'm gonna.
All right, subject to recall. You're excused.
We're getting an
Thank you for
F&O
being here.
shirt.
You may
We're
step
getting an
down.
F&O shirt.
All right. Thank
I
you.
don't even know what I'm
Can I
thinking
excuse
about.
you for 1 minute for arranging
I'm actually
Yes.
crazy.
for a moment?
How about one of these on a hoodie? All right. Where are we going next? Just out of interest. The next one is, Sarah Kaplan, who was part of the Spector's defense team, is coming back in. The lady that we've just seen that was getting threatened with some jail time. We're going to start that next Sunday. We're going to close up shop here this morning. Thanks, everyone, for coming in. Yeah, Steve going to Steve shirt. I like that idea. Let me write that in here real quick. We'll do a Steve's going to Steve as an idea real quick. Hold on. I got a little spot in here where I'll try to put ideas. I've actually got a lot in here. Shit. Steve gonna Steve shirt. And then we're gonna do F and Oath shirt. Hell yeah. We got to get some new merch rolling for the new year is what we got to do. Her sister Catherine Pileggi was found guilty of murdering a multi-millionaire in Fort Lauderdale. Whoa, interesting, Brooklyn. Thanks for that little tidbit there. That's awesome. Stream Elements coming through there and popping up the old Twitter, the X with Publicly Buzzed. Make sure you're following on there. That's where you're going to get all updates and just my general wildness that's basically spilled out this morning right here live on Murder Church. You get that all day long on X most days. And I share a lot of really interesting stuff, a lot of stuff from just space and time and true crime in general. I appreciate everyone for coming through here this morning. It's been a really good episode. If anybody has not checked out the new Wrestle Plunge video, I'm going to put a link in there. I'm working on a new video. I'm actually working on a new script. I put in a little bit of work yesterday, and I'm still not done with it. I'm still not satisfied with where I want to be, but let me get this video in here. If anybody could just go give it the old watch, give it a like, give it a comment, that'd help it out in the old algorithm. Actually, it's probably already dead. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm still going to pop it in here for you to do so just in case. And if you're not following on the second channel, you should be. Yeah. Have a great Sunday, everybody. You'll probably see me again Tuesday night for Murder Church. Yeah, maybe we'll get some Courtney Clinty this time. I've been teasing that for a couple of weeks now. And then, of course, Thursday, Friday, Feral Friday, the norms should be popping off and keeping the damn thing going. Oh, I just hit 7K on the Wrestle Plunge channel. Fucking nice. 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 And just hit 10.4 over here, which is still up in the air. That could go back down very easily. It's right at the cusp of reaching over. Looking through here, making sure I'm not missing nothing. All the beautiful folks. We got a wheel spun out, which was sweet. Yeah. Best folks in the world right here in this chat. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. All right. Thank you all so much. Let me just make sure I ain't missing nothing in the chat. Hell yeah. Thanks, everyone. Seriously. Awesome morning. Awesome day. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Get into this week and kick his ass. Let's go.
Nothing to see here, please.